Another sellout crowd, 92,318 here at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Homecoming and Crimson Tide pay-per-view on the air. Again, along with Tyler Watson, Barry Krause, I'm Chris Stewart. Welcome to Tuscaloosa as we are underway. Arenas will field it 5 yards deep, and Wisely opts to take the touchback. Another good kickoff from Lawrence, and Alabama will start off 1st and 10. John Parker Wilson, the junior quarterback for the Crimson Tide out of Hoover, Alabama. You see his numbers on the year. The last couple of weeks, he has done most of his work in the 4th quarter, leading Alabama to dramatic comebacks the last 3 weeks, really, but just not enough last week in Jacksonville against Florida State. DJ Hall and Mike McCoy, the wideouts, to the top of your picture. With Terry Grant, the lone setback. Good to see Travis McCall back after being injured a week ago. He was the tight end shifting on the play. And it's Coffey, not Grant, who gets the first carry. Glenn Coffey getting the nod. The 6'2", 225-pound sophomore out of Fort Walton Beach getting the start ahead of Terry Grant as you look at the offensive front for the Crimson Tide. It's actually a change. Evan Cardwell getting the start at center with Antoine Caldwell starting at right guard. Marlon Davis, the regular right guard for the Tide, missed a couple of days of practice due to personal reasons. So the Tide having to shuffle things on the line as the pass intended for DJ Hall sails out of bounds. It'll bring up 3rd down and short as we look quickly at the Huston defense. Ash, Stewart, and Hunt, the 3-man front. Pahulu at one outside linebacker. Schwartz and Fontenette are the safeties with Means and Simon on the corners. Big 3rd down for Alabama here early. They got 8 on 1st and then miss on a 2nd down throw. Let's see what happens on 3rd and 2. Again, Glenn Coffey getting the start ahead of Terry Grant. Coffey with 6 carries for 71 yards a week ago on play action. Wilson rolling the pocket. He'll run for the 1st down, and he will get it. And wisely eludes one would-be tackler and gets out of bounds. Anytime you can save a hit and get the 1st down, pretty good job. It was Ernest Miller who missed the tackle.
Yeah, absolutely nothing wrong with this play. Alabama on the good play action right here caught Houston in man-to-man coverage, but they did a good job of covering downfield. So John Parker's out on the corner. He does a nice job of getting upfield, getting that 1st down.
He is known as a passer, but a bit deceptive in his running ability. He won't put up big numbers. They don't call on him to run, but you see right there, some of those misleading because of sacks that he'll take as you got a flag coming in that will likely nullify the gain by Coffey. Mark Curls, our lead referee.
Offsides, number 90, defense. Penalties declined, 2nd down.
So they whistle that one on L. Ash, number 90, the junior out of Willingboro, New Jersey. Transfer from University of Tennessee, jumping off sides there. And so Alabama declining the penalty after the 8-yard gain by Coffey. A nice start on the ground for Alabama. A couple of 8-yard pickups from Coffey, and on the delay give, more running room, another 1st down, and he is to the midfield stripe. Actually, they'll spot him in Houston territory. For Cougars 49, Trent Allen making the stop.
And you can already see the commitment to the run on this part of this Alabama offense. What they're wanting to do is come out and establish that line of scrimmage. We saw the mix-up with Caldwell go into center, Cardwell go into center, Caldwell go into guard. Just any sort of little change that might spark this offensive team. That's what these coaches are trying to do.
So 3 1st downs already for the Tide. Wilson on the keep, almost lost his head, but able to scoot forward to the 46-yard line. Cody Lubajowski, the junior out of Sugar Land, Texas, at middle linebacker, credited with the tackle.
And Chris wants to call John Parker not a running quarterback, but they call his number right here, and he does a great job lowering his head. You saw the spin move right there to get off the would-be tackler to allow him to pick up another 2 or 3 yards.
You won't see many design runs, but as we said, he is a more effective runner than many give him credit for. On 2nd and 6. The give to Coffey once again. Nice cut to get inside the 40, and he will get knocked out of bounds at the 36. But it'll be another Crimson Tide 1st down. Kenneth Fontenette, the strong safety, making the hit
watch Britt and both Andre Smith get out here on the corner and really do a great job of knocking defenders around. You don't always have to knock them on the ground like you saw Andre Smith do right there, but just getting in their way allows Coffee to get upfield.
Coffee again on the give, getting to the corner, cuts it back inside the 30, and the Crimson Tide not doing a whole lot fancy right here, Tyler, just running the football right at the Houston defense.
Well, you know that the game plan is going to be simple, simply from the standpoint of, hey, fellas, we have to be able to establish the run. We only gained 90 yards or so last week versus Florida State, so we have got to be able to run the football effectively and efficiently, and you can see so far that that's where their commitment has been.
Quinta Williams making the hit as Coffee gets a much-deserved breather, and it will be Terry Grant checking in on 2nd and 2. 3 wideouts in formation. And movement again. This will likely be against the Cougars as the play lost a half yard, but again, let's wait on the flag.
Offsides, number 56, defense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Cody Freed, the junior out of Hooks, Texas, the nose tackle, guilty of that one. So from the 22-yard line, Alabama with another first down. And again, everything you could ask for here early. Tight end McCall lined up at fullback, running interference. For Grant, getting to the outside, getting to the boundary, and getting bumped out of bounds just shy of the first down mark. So another nice gain of 9. Fontenette, the strong safety, making another stop.
Well, Nikita Stover out at a wide receiver job does a nice job coming in there, sealing off all the penetration that would be getting outside. Terry Grant just does a nice job of that speed of bouncing it outside. It's a good job by both the slot receiver, DJ Hall, and Nikita Stover.
Stover listed as a 3rd-string receiver, however, only with the 1 catch this year, but he is a very good blocker in run situations. He does check out of the game here. Earl Alexander is the receiver to the bottom of your picture as Bama goes with a 2 tight end look to the right side. They give once more to Coffee. The big running back barrels his way inside the 10. It'll be 1st and goal, Alabama at the Houston 6-yard line. Rocky Schwartz saved the touchdown.
But Coffee just brings a little different element to the running game. It's a little bit bigger than Terry Grant. Might not have that cutting speed or that burst of speed once he gets on the outside that Terry Grant does. But between the tackles, a little bit bigger frame body, weighs a little bit more, able to carry a little more on his shoulders between the tackles.
Baron Huber in at fullback for the Tide, the sophomore out of Knoxville. Again, Coffee dot in the eye. Walker shifting to the left side. The give. Coffee bouncing it to the outside, spinning, but he's going to be knocked down at about the 4-yard line. Ernest Miller making the stop. Alabama in the red zone. 22 times they've been in the red zone. They have scored 20 times, 91% clip, but Tide's also gotten 14 touchdowns out of those 22 visits inside the 20. Nick Saban looking on as his Crimson Tide has marched it right down the field, starting at their own 20. And now at the 10:55 mark of the first quarter, knocking on the door of the goal line. There's Coffee. He's at the 1, and he's at the goal line, but he is going to be marked just shy, I believe. Lubajowski again with the stop as he gets to the shadow of the goal line.
Still looked like, I thought he made it in there. Didn't see any line judges or anything on marker at the 1-yard line, but you look for more of the same here.
Preston Dial checking in to give a 3 tight end look. And a keep. Dead ahead. Touchdown Alabama. John Parker Wilson on the quarterback sneak. And Alabama converting on a 3rd down for the 2nd time on this drive.
Nothing fancy right here, just a little quarterback sneak by John Parker Wilson, but you see the push there of the offensive line. That's something we hadn't seen the last several weeks. Is that offensive line really dominating the line of scrimmage?
Lee Tiffin on to try the extra point. Perfect on the year. 16 of 16, but whistles come in. Now they're going to review whether or not Wilson's knee touched before he got into the end zone. Officials wanting to look that one over. If the touchdown holds, it'll be the 3rd time that Alabama has scored on its first possession in 6 ball games.
And, you know, Chris, this is an interesting call right here, simply from the standpoint. I remember a play on a 3rd or 4th down last week at Florida State, and his knee might have possibly come down. That angle doesn't show the end line is the only thing. But John Parker Wilson, once again, running up the middle. His knee came down right as he was lunging forward for the 1st down. And it ended up costing him a short conversion, and they had to end up punting it.
Too many bodies to tell from that angle, as you saw the carry by Coffey to get it down to the 1-foot line. The officials wasted no time in signaling touchdown. And again, the video has to provide conclusive evidence that that did not.
Yeah, and I was told the difference between, what's it?
Don't even try.
My wife explained it to me, though.
And you're going to go off that?
Yeah,
yes, you better listen at home.
Because I never had listened to it. Either confirms, does it confirm the call, which means yes?
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
And thankfully, we got bailed out.
Stands means not enough footage to overrule it or go either way, so they have to go with it. And I'm done.
Thank you. I've got a headache. And we're only 4 minutes into this. Tiffin now ought to try the extra point to give Bama a 7-0 lead. 6-0, Crimson Tide on top. Hold by Fitzgerald is good. The kick is up, and it is good as well. Off the snap of Brian Snellman. Tiffin converting the extra point. 7-0. Bama leads it after an 80-yard drive. John Parker Wilson scoring from inside a yard to give Bama a 7-0 lead. Barry Krause, about as good a start as you could ask for Alabama.
That's right, guys. When you talk about that opening kickoff, remember we talked about taking Houston out of it. Well, they had to do it offensively, sustaining drives on 3rd downs and 2s. They were able to convert. What happened is that John Parker Wilson is doing a great job with the adjustments on the line of scrimmage. He's seeing that the defensive linemen for Houston have overshifted to the weak side. He's making the audible, running back to the strong side of the formation, and really sustaining good drives by converting on 1st and 2nd downs, getting really big hunks of yardage taken out of it. So all of a sudden, guess what? They sustained the drive all the way down the field and scored on the opening kickoff.
You're right there, and Tyler only, I believe, 2 3rd downs on that entire 14-play drive.
And it always comes down to how do you perform on 1st and 2nd down. The best 3rd down conversion is to not have to face one.
Bobbled by Tarek Williams, but then he recovers and gets across the 20. Flags come flying in as Alabama puts a lot of crimson helmets on the white jersey of Tarek Williams, a dangerous return man. Marquise Johnson, first guy to greet him. Sort things out on the penalty.
During the return, illegal block in the back, number 40, return team. 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
So a step off will put the Cougars back inside their own 15. Nick Saban's squad, an 80-yard drive to start the game. Let's see if the defense can respond and get off the field in a hurry. Donnie Avery, young man you need to look out for, averaging over 160 all-purpose yards per game. As the Cougars will shift a couple of times before going on the snap to Blake Joseph, who gets the start. Heavy pressure, and he'll go down. Brandon Dedrick, who gets the start ahead of Bobby Greenwood, out with an injured ankle. Stepping up and getting the sack for Alabama. That is the Tide's 6th this year.
Well, the big question was, would we be able to apply pressure in the backfield against this unusual Houston offense? We saw the shifting going on before, and the answer is yes. Dedrick doing a good job of using his feet, avoiding the blocker, and getting in the backfield.
Joseph, the 6'2", 215-pound sophomore out of Bryan, Texas, completing better than 75% of his passes on the year. Looking deep. He's got a man, but overthrown. That's great coverage by Kareem Jackson for the Crimson Tide. The freshman with him step for step. You see the offensive front. Michael Blesh, a good one at right guard. Anthony Aldridge, we talked about in the open. He's averaging 181 yards per game all-purpose and rushing for 110 per game. So a third down upcoming. But another flag comes in. Maybe an illegal substitution.
Dead ball foul. Substitution infraction. Number 10, defense. Broke the huddle with 12 players. Still third down.
So on first down, they lose 9 yards. And now a penalty on third down. Sets up 3rd and 21. Second penalty on this series. They actually had a 10-yard step off on the kickoff return. So Bama leading at 7-0. Cougars backed up inside their own end zone. Joseph from the gun with time. Pressure. Pass is thrown up, and it is almost intercepted by Darren Mustin. It was Wallace Gilberry who got a hand on him, and let's see, are they going to call intentional grounding in the safety? There is a flag down.
Yeah, they're going to call intentional grounding right here. He wanted to wait and see if a receiver was in the area because he just wasn't sure. I'm talking about the head referee. But this is definitely going to be intentional grounding.
Intentional grounding. Number 15, offense. Penalties, loss of down. That's spotless foul. Safety.
So the Alabama defense getting a sack on first down. And in all effect, getting one right here. Great pressure from the Tide.
Well, it's really just a 4-man route, and there's just pressure everywhere. There's nowhere to throw the football. Alabama secondary did an outstanding job in coverage, and as you see right there, Gilberry comes in here, beats his man, able to get the sack.
And Houston very fortunate that they're only giving up 2 points. Now, a lot of bad stuff going to happen right there for the Cougars.
Now, on the first play, we saw who Gilberry was going against. It was number 77, Jeff Ackroyd. He's the one that got rolled up on that first play and came up a little gimpy, and you know that Gilberry noticed that, and he's a little slow in it and his set and everything, and Gilberry was just able to outrush him.
Jeff Ackroyd, the 6'3" senior out of Lubbock, Texas, going against Alabama's senior from Bay Minette, Wallace Gilberry. Tide defensive front, again, talked about a little bit in the papers this week because they only had the 5 sacks coming in. However, Nick Saban said, don't let that fool you. This defensive front has been putting pressure on the quarterback. They just haven't been finishing plays, actually recording the sacks. They get a couple there, and one of them resulting in 2 points for the Crimson Tide. So the free kick coming from the 20 as Lawrence will have to kick off again. Jonathan Lowe and Javier Arenas once again deep for the Crimson Tide, who started its first offensive series at their own 20 after the touchback. Then marched at 80 yards in 14 plays to take a 7-0 lead. It's a 9-0 Bama advantage now as Arenas takes it at the 20. He's trying to get some running room, and instead he'll be brought down up around the 34-yard line. Not bad at all for the Tide to start there with 9 minutes and 18 seconds left to go in this opening quarter of play. 14 yards on the return. As John Parker Wilson, a very solid first drive for the Crimson Tide. And it was really all on the ground. Incomplete pass on his only attempt. But a couple of carries that gave the Tide a first down and some positive yardage on another give. That's Coffey gaining a yard, but not much more. Philip Hunt, the defensive end, knifing in. Coffey got the start, although we did see Terry Grant get a couple of carries on that last series.
And you're going to see 3 running backs for Alabama. They need to rotate all 3 of them, keep the fresh legs in there. And also from the standpoint of all 3 running backs do a really good job. It's a nice mixture. They each bring a little something different to the table. But look for all 3 running backs to get a lot of playing time today.
McCall, the tight end, checks out as Matt Caddell comes in to replace him working from the gun. They'll dump it off, setting up a little wide receiver screen to DJ Hall, and makes one man miss and gets up to the 45-yard line. That'll be enough for the first down. Great little move there by DJ Hall, his 24th catch of the year.
Well, Nick Walker and Matt Cadell do a great job of stop blocking on the outside, but the man that really made this play work was Caldwell. Watch him come into your screen right there and really push number 4 for Houston. That's Rodney Rideau out of the way so that DJ Hall was able to get the first down.
So Hall, Alabama's all-time leading receiver, with his 24th grab of the season. 1st and 10, Bama play action. Tide looking, out route, deflected and incomplete. Threw it into double coverage that time, looking for Matt Cadell.
Well, for the first time today, Houston's able to get a little pressure in the backfield. Play action, they didn't really bite on it. Got a little pressure back there. John Parker Wilson had to release the ball before I think he was ready.
Went to Williams, the man that broke it up as he tried to connect with Cadell. Fortunate to get that one back. Sets up a 2nd and 10. McCoy and Hall coming to the bottom of your picture as wideouts in just a moment. See him in the top of the screen. Cadell and Brown. Little shuffle pass underneath the Coffee running room, and then he gets leveled as he gets into Houston territory. It was Fontenette that clocked him right as he hit the midfield stripe.
Well, you saw the safeties prior to the snap of the ball playing a lot of games on the outside, so that left the middle of the field very vulnerable. And just a nice call right here. A little shuffle pass, Glenn Coffey, allow him to pick up about 8 or 9 yards.
So 3rd and about 1.5 yards for Alabama. The mark right at the 45. As again, they'll go with Coffey. The lone setback. That's McCall, the tight end, shifting. Giving it to Coffey, and he is going to be short of the first down mark, I believe. They will spot him just shy of the 45. Matt Nicholson, weak side linebacker, making the hit. And they're going to bring the chains over. I think Nick Saban wants to see just how close it is to a first before making the decision. Tide offense. 14 plays, 80 yards, took 4 minutes 39 seconds off the clock on its initial drive of the game, capped by a 1-foot touchdown run. It was John Parker Wilson who took it in on the sneak, and let's see on the measurement. What about that much for the first?
And I think these coaches are wanting to go for it also, simply from they want to prove that offense once again. We trust in you. We know that you can do the job, but you got to prove it to us right here. Also, it doesn't hurt when the defense went 3 and out and caused a safety on the first series.
Absolutely. He's got some confidence in that squad, and now the offense facing a 4th down. Bama converting 50% of those so far on the year. The power set with Huber in at fullback and 3 tight ends. We see Walker and McCall shifting to the left side. Actually, a 2 tight end look. Straight give. Coffey gets across the 45, and that'll be plenty for the first down. A lot of times you'll see a guy just bull his way in there. Smart running on the part of Coffey, just finding the open seam.
Yeah, you don't want to waste too much time trying to find that perfect hole. At some point, you do have to pick a line and run over somebody to pick up that first down. But Baron Huber did an outstanding job of leading through that hole. Left side did a good job. You don't have to get it by but an inch, and that's exactly what they did right there. Just get it by a foot or 2.
And again, Alabama changing its offense around. Evan Cardwell, number 70, starting at center, with Antoine Caldwell starting at right guard in place of Marlon Davis, who's out after having missed a couple of days of practice, excused absences. Little dump off to Coffey, and that'll get him 5 or 6 yards. Different ways of getting the ball in the hands of your playmakers. Coffey with his 7th grab of the year, and he's averaging about 12 yards per catch.
Yeah, and right here, John Parker Wilson does a good job. It looked like he was trying to work Mike McCoy down the middle of the side of the field on a corner route, but he does a smart thing. He doesn't force it in there. He dumps it off to Coffey and picks up 7 or 8 yards. And that's something we got to see John Parker Wilson do a better job of and get back in a rhythm of, is making those good decisions, not forcing the ball and taking what defense is giving him.
Grant checking in, joining Wilson in the backfield as he works from the gun. Dumping it off on the screen. He's got Caldwell out there running interference, and he'll pick up the first down and a couple of yards more. Caldwell couldn't quite get there to get enough of a block to spring him for the big hitter, but enough for the first down.
Yeah, just need a little bit more arm. But watch Cardwell and Caldwell get out front here. You got 2 blockers right there. And even after the play, Terry Grant, I think he realizes he should have cut it back in.
It's one of those where it looks like the lineman didn't get there, but that's almost on the running back, isn't it? He's got to wait on the big horses to arrive.
Well, you got to see him, or you got to be able to outrun that defender.
So 1st and 10 Alabama to give. Grant lost the football, and he's got it. Bama got it back, and I think it was Grant who fought and clawed to get it back. Rocky Schwartz is the man that knocked it loose. And it looked like the Cougars were going to get it, but that's pretty good hustle and work by Grant to get this one back.
Yeah, that's a great job. I thought that it bounced right into the defender's hands. Terry Grant able to come back with it.
He took it away from Quinta Williams. That's a great job of not quitting on the play. It never looked like he had the ball comfortably tucked away and then lost the handle, but worked hard to get it back. Here's Coffey back in now after the 8-yard pickup, including the fumble. 2nd and 2. Play action. Looking deep for Stover. He is wide open. Touchdown, Alabama. John Parker Wilson on a 23-yard touchdown strike to Nikita Stover. His first touchdown of the year, 2nd grab of the season, and Alabama leads it now 15-0.
Well, Glenn Coffey does a great job right here. The corner blitz comes once again for Houston. Coffey aborts his fake and goes and picks up. That's what allows John Parker Wilson the time to find Nikita Stover.
Harry Simon beaten badly on that one as the extra point attempt is up. It is good, and Alabama leads it now 16-0. Crimson Tide with a great start, offensively and defensively, both producing points for the Tide here early with 4:32 left to go in the half. John Parker Wilson, quarterback sneak for 1 touchdown, a 23-yard strike to Nikita Stover for another. Those 2 touchdowns sandwiched around a safety, and the Tide takes a 16-0 lead over the Houston Cougars. There's Nikita Stover, who was on the receiving end of that grab, the junior out of Hartselle, Alabama, a transfer from Itawamba Community College. Just his 2nd catch of the year. That one goes 23 yards for a touchdown. So Lee Tiffin on to kick off for the 2nd time today. Short kick that Tarek Williams will field. Check that. It's Donnie Avery on the return. He gets across the 20, and then he gets leveled. Good job by DeMarcus Waldrop, number 44, the first man to greet him. Bama defense doing a number on Houston after the first series. -7 yards of total offense so far. In fact, they did such a good job we didn't get a chance to tell you about them. Start things off. Bobby Greenwood not getting the start today, as it was Brandon Dedrick who got the first sack starting in his place. Ezekiel Knight coming off a big game against FSU. Here's your starting secondary for Alabama. Cougars starting at their own 21. Joseph on the inside handoff, and plenty of running room there on a first down give to Anthony Aldridge. Told you he is averaging almost 6 yards per carry. A little misdirection here, giving him some open space.
Yeah, it's nothing fancy, but it's something different, completely different than what they tried to do on the first series, which was a lot of passes. And I'll just get it back to what they do good, and that's running Anthony Aldridge.
Bama with 5 defensive backs. Check at 6. Johnson and Carter at the safeties. Ali Sharif there. Kareem Jackson on that side of the field, where Joseph is going to be wrapped up. Wallace Gilberry getting to him again and getting another tackle. Gilberry had 26 tackles on the year coming in. That is his 5th. Make that his 6th tackle for loss.
Well, the idea here for Houston is to force a quarterback out there on the corner and get the cornerbacks and the safeties to commit. Do they want to try to stop him on the run threat, or are they going to stay back in coverage? And it doesn't matter if Wallace, because Wallace Gilberry does such a good job of scraping down the field and making the tackle.
Aldridge and Terrence Ganaway in the backfield with Blake Joseph working from the shotgun. 2nd down and 11. Handoff, Aldridge. Not much running room at all. Marcus Carter coming up to deliver a big hit as he gets to the 35-yard line. Wallace Gilberry also coming down the line. Got him low while Carter got him high.
Well, the play takes a little bit of time to develop. It's because they're reading the backside end. Wallace Gilberry, if he crashes down and takes Aldridge on the run, quarterback Joseph Blake is going to pull it. So Gilberry does a good job right there as well of reading the quarterback, allowing him, making sure that he hands the ball off before he comes down the line.
So 3rd and 9. Joseph looking, throwing, pass in and out of the hands of the intended receiver. Tried to catch up with Jerron Harvey, but the pass was thrown behind the 6'5" senior from Jacksonville, Florida, and the Bama defense does the job again.
Yeah, it's a great job by the Alabama secondary. You want to give Houston, you don't care if you give them a 5 or 6 yard pass, one that they're going to run for and pick up an extra yard or two because it's 3rd and so long. But you have to be able to take away those deeper routes, and that's exactly what Alabama does.
Arenas, the deep man for Alabama, as Chase Turner comes on to punt for the first time. 12 punts, averaging about 39 yards per kick. High, beautiful spiraling kick that sends Arenas back inside the 15, looking for running room. He'll change direction, and he'll be brought down quickly at the 15. Tim Monroe making a nice special team stop. Arenas had some big returns the first 3 weeks, but he has been held in check since then. Alabama, though, with a quick start here in Tuscaloosa. Lots to smile about on a homecoming Saturday in Tuscaloosa, along with Tyler Watson, our sideline reporter Barry Krause. I'm Chris Stewart. 16-0. Alabama 2 for 2 on its offensive possessions. Roy Upchurch, the 3rd Bama tailback of the day, finding the running room very sparse right there. It's 2 on the play. Brendan Pahulu, the right side linebacker out of Euless, Texas, making the hit. Sometimes that stat can be misleading. This is not one of those occasions. Less than a minute that the Cougars have officially had the football. Some incomplete passes will shorten that, but 2 series, one of them ending with a safety as Upchurch turns the corner, and Upchurch has running room up across the 40-yard line. It'll be an Alabama first down to the 42.
Alabama's pulling a lot of play side guards, and then right here they pull Britt and Andre Smith all the way from the far side. Now that's good footwork by your offensive lineman, able to turn their shoulders upfield, get in somebody's way, pushing guys out of the way. Roy Upchurch benefits. 22 yards on the carry. And Alabama with another first down. That is the 10th already for the Crimson Tide. Play action again. Wilson looking for it all, looking for Hall. He got bumped. There's going to be pass interference. As you had Rocky Schwartz, the free safety, knew around the 40-yard line he was beat badly and had to hang on for dear life, and that's why Hall was nowhere near the football when it finally came down.
Pass interference, number 20, defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Well, Williams comes on the corner blitz once again for Houston, and this is the mismatch that you want if you're Alabama. Rocky Schwartz, a strong safety versus one of the better Alabama receivers on this team, and that's one that John Parker Wilson does a good job of recognizing and throws a pass that's very catchable and probably would have been caught had there not been interference.
4th penalty, 39 yards total against Houston. One of those penalties actually resulting in a safety when you had an intentional grounding call on Blake Joseph in the end zone. Stover, who caught a touchdown pass in motion, as they give it to Upchurch again and nowhere to go. He got leveled. As coming up to make the hit was James Francis, linebacker out of Lamarck, Texas.
Talked about productivity there on first down. This time the Alabama offensive line is not able to move that line of scrimmage. Houston does a good job of flowing to the football and stalemating the line, and it results in a loss.
That's the first negative play that Alabama has had, certainly on a first down anyway. As we near the final minute of quarter number 1, it has been a good one for the Crimson Tide. 166 yards of total offense to just 4 for Houston so far. And John Parker Wilson not liking what he sees, and he'll burn a timeout here.
Alabama, first timeout of the half.
Again, better to use one here than make a mistake on second down. Make sure you're on the same page. The Tide coming off of that loss a week ago at the hands of the Florida State Seminoles. But Alabama started off the season well, beat Western Carolina, a game that we had for you on Crimson Tide pay-per-view, 52-6, the debut for Nick Saban as head coach. Then came a victory in Nashville against Vanderbilt, a game that was more dominating for the Tide than the 24-10 score would indicate. Arkansas, a last-second win for Bama here at home, and then a heartbreaker the following week in overtime to Georgia, 26-23. And then last week, Alabama never really got things going offensively until the latter half of the fourth quarter, playing catch-up those last 6 minutes. Almost pulled it off, but unfortunately losing 21-14. Second and 11. As you've got movement, and this one's likely going to be stepped back again. You had Phillip Hunt, the defensive end, moving, but looked like Travis McCall may have taken a little half step forward as well. It's been a busy first quarter so far for Mark Curls and his crew.
Before the snap, false start, number 71, offense, 5-yard penalty, still second down. Please reset the game clock to 55 seconds.
So it was not the tight end on the right side. It was the tackle on the left, Andre Smith, who moved just a shade too quickly. And as we've said before, when you are 6'5", 340, and you move, people are going to know it. Play action, roll in the pocket with Brett, running interference. Wilson now having a tough. He's got a lot of room, and he just now recognizes it. He will get positive yardage, and then will get slung down out of bounds, and there's a flag. That will be unnecessary roughness called on the Cougars. And Wilson lowered his head and wasn't going to go out of bounds easily, but he got helped to the ground 2 yards into the boundary.
After the play, personal foul, number 12, defense. Threw the runner to the ground out of bounds. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Well, they had the play set up well, and here he does a good job of just floating, still looking for a receiver, not a whole lot of help downfield. But right here, you see number 12, Harry Simon. If I got ran over by a quarterback, I'd probably be pretty upset also. Who wouldn't like that?
Sitting it like being toasted on that previous touchdown pass either, but he's given up a touchdown, and now he's given up a penalty on top of it on the following series, as Alabama now has 1st and 10 at the Cougar 21-yard line. Upchurch, a couple of yards. That one looked a bit more promising when he hit the line of scrimmage, but then that shut down in a hurry. A gain of still 2.5. Setting up 2nd and 8.
But so far, you can see where the commitment has been and where the emphasis has probably been all week long, is establishing that line of scrimmage, wanting to run the ball effectively on 1st and 2nd down. Houston probably thought they called the best defense against that run play, brought the corner pressure once again, but Upchurch is still able to pick up 3 or 4 yards.
Likely the final play of the quarter. 6 seconds on the clock as Wilson on play action. Looking, throwing, McCoy, caught. Touchdown, Alabama. John Parker Wilson to Mike McCoy, his first career touchdown grab, 23 yards, and Alabama leading it now, 22-0.
Alabama has caught Houston in mismatches all during this first quarter, and this play is the exact same. Mike McCoy taking advantage of his speed, able to work the middle of the field versus a corner.
Extra point attempt is up and good, and what a first quarter for the Crimson Tide. An 85-yard drive for Alabama, capped by the second 23-yard touchdown pass of the quarter. Tide's rolling early here on homecoming. Homecoming, a great day for the family. Great day to be a Crimson Tide fan also. 23-0 as we get set for quarter number 2, and a nice way to wrap up the first quarter, Tyler Watts.
Yeah, and all this stems off the fact that Alabama has been able to run the football. Therefore, Houston is biting on these play-action passes that Alabama is doing. That's putting a lot of pressure on Williams and these other cornerbacks for Houston in that one-on-one coverage, and that's one that Nikita Stover and Mike McCoy have done a great job of beating.
See the third touchdown drive mixed in with a safety. Alabama with a 23-0 lead, rather appropriate since 2 of the touchdown passes have covered 23 yards for the Crimson Tide. This is a Houston defense that has been giving up 30 points per game. The Alabama offense striking quickly. On the return, it was Donnie Avery making a couple of guys miss, getting up to the 26-yard line before Alabama eventually reels him in. Let's see if they make a change at the quarterback position, as Houston has 2 guys that are capable of moving the football. Blake Joseph, who got the start and is still in there. Case Keenum injured his hand a bit. Thought we might see him early, but they're going to stick with Joseph right here. Still early, but yet the Cougars have to get something going. They're averaging less than a yard per play so far. Inside handoff, and Alabama's Lorenzo Washington there to greet Anthony Aldridge. Talked about the senior from Denton, Texas in the open. He's averaging about 6 yards per carry, and he picks up 3 there.
Washington playing a little different position that time, sliding out to that 3 technique. Normally see him head up over the center. But now because Motley is able to come back, and these guys are giving them 4 true defensive linemen.
Second down and 8, and we've got a flag on the play.
Before the snap, false start, number 77, offense. 5-yard penalty, second down.
Take a look at the first quarter numbers brought to you by Cook's Pest Control. Alabama doing the job primarily on the ground, which has set up the big play through the air.
Yeah, Alabama has been outstanding, but it all starts with running the football. They've given a steady dose of Coffee, Upchurch, as well as Terry Grant, and that's what's opened up the passing attack.
Alabama failed to convert on one of those third downs, as you saw, but then was able to keep the drive alive by picking up the first on the 4th down play. Heavy pressure, and again Lorenzo Washington there. That's his 2nd sack of the year, 3rd of the game for the Crimson Tide defense. And Alabama's certainly getting pressure on the quarterback in this ball game.
Yeah, Diedrich and Washington line up on the right side on the top of your screen there and just bulldoze their way through the line of scrimmage.
So a loss back to the 16. It's up 3rd down and a bunch. 3rd and 20 actually. With 13-13 left to go in the second quarter. They'll go on the ground again to Aldridge, and Aldridge with good running room, but he'll be well shy of the first down as he gets brought down at the 30. Kareem Jackson and Marcus Carter combining on the stop. It'll bring up 4th and 5, and the Cougars will have to punt again.
And Chris, good to see Mustin back on the field on that last play. Suffered a little strain once again last week versus Florida State. We didn't see much of him in the second half, so it's good to see him back out on the field.
Chase Turner on to punt. He had a 51-yarder on his first try. And because of a high spiraling kick, great coverage by the Cougars. Arenas with no return yardage on that play, but this one is shanked off the side of his foot. And it will be down at the 43-yard line of the Crimson Tide. Great starting field position for Alabama. The Tide will have it at the 43 when we come back. 12:21 to go, second quarter. Nick Saban's Crimson Tide with a 23-0 lead. 23-0 Alabama with a great start to this homecoming game against the Houston Cougars. I'm Chris Stewart along with Tyler Watts. Our Cook's Pest Control sideline reports brought to you by Barry Krause. We'll check in with him in just a bit. Inside handoff going to Glenn Coffey, and he'll pick up a yard, maybe two, before Philip Hunt brings him down. Coffey got the start for Alabama and has had a nice game already. 11 carries, 58 yards. I'll tell you what, the Tide has absolutely dominated this one early. You've got 10 total offensive plays for Houston that have covered a grand total of 8 yards. Alabama, 29 offensive snaps, 201 yards of total offense, 2 touchdown passes from John Parker Wilson. He also had a short quarterback sneak as we got flags that come flying in once more. It's going to be the 8th penalty of the ball game. Bama's been flagged once.
Full snap, false start, number 88, offense, 5-yard penalty, second down.
Second procedure penalty whistled on the Crimson Tide as Nick Walker, guilty of that infraction.
After the penalty, second and 14 at the 39.
So second and 14. Second and long is not something Alabama's had much of today. The Tide already with 13 first downs. Houston with only 1. Looking for Hall, got a nice block initially, but that was read extremely well by Houston. They had a lot more white jerseys than Bama had crimson ones out there.
Yeah, their front four does an outstanding job of trying to penetrate, and once they realize that it is a screen pass, they peel off of their rush and run directly downfield, and there you see DJ Hall with nowhere to run.
So a loss of a yard on the play, and that's going to bring up 3rd and 16 for the Crimson Tide. Four wideouts as Will Oakley is checked in. Stepping into the throw and then throwing it out of bounds was Wilson. He had heavy pressure coming as Philip Hunt, the defensive end, was in his face. He stepped into the throw, but maybe had to unload it a little bit quicker than he would have liked.
Yeah, they try to run 4 verticals right here, which is a good call on 3rd and long. And the idea is to be able to hit one of those seams like we saw them do last week versus Florida State before you get to the safety, somewhere between 12 and 18 yards. But the Houston defense does a good job.
So the first time P.J. Fitzgerald has had to come on and punt today. He's averaging 38 yards per punt. A low wobbly kick. And running room for Williams as he gets across the 25 to about the 27-yard line. Tarek Williams averaging 10 yards per return. And Ali Sharif getting the special team stop. So the Cougars take over, but they work from a deep hole. 23-0 Alabama with a lead as we are early into second quarter action. Crimson Tide scoring on its first 2 offensive series. Those were sandwiched around the safety. And the Tide on top 23-0 right now as Anthony Aldridge gets across the 25. First down pickup for the senior out of Denton, Texas. Milton Talbert getting the tackle. Alabama getting some new faces in the game defensively. You see Brian Motley in there, number 66, part of that 4-man front as they walk up Zeke Knight, really a linebacker, but put him at defensive end with a hand on the ground. Well covered by Alabama. Kareem Jackson and Simeon Castile there to combine on the stop. May have gotten back to the line of scrimmage, but not much more.
This is just great recognition on the part of Kareem Jackson here. He comes out of coverage, recognizes that the pass has been dumped off, and comes up to make the tackle.
No gain on the play. 3rd and 5 at the 32.
So 3rd and 5 at the 32. Clock ticking under 9:20 to go in the second quarter. It's been all Alabama so far. And you see the season numbers for this Houston defense, averaging 483 yards per game, but only 13 so far. Joseph having to tuck it and run, and he'll get the first down, and that's a big play for the Cougars. If they go 3 and out there, Tyler, they have got a very, very tough afternoon ahead of them, but smart play by Joseph.
There's good coverage, though, this time by the Alabama secondary. Joseph has absolutely nowhere to throw the football, but he does a good job of finding the seam up the middle to pick up their first down.
Ali Sharif, one of the numerous defensive backs Alabama's going with today. See 5 and 6 at some points. They're swinging out in a hurry, getting it into the hands of Aldridge. And he picks up good yardage up to about the 49, and you can start to see this Houston offense gain just a little bit of momentum, which is something you do not want to allow.
Yeah, we really don't know what this offense can do because they hadn't had a chance to show us anything to this point. But on the first 2 drives, their first and second downs, it seems they always backed up. Here on these last 2 possessions, they've been able to pick up positive yardage, and now it's starting to free and loosen up this Alabama defense.
2nd and 1, give Aldridge first down into Bama territory at the 47. Brandon Dedrick. So they'll move the chains again. They've had just 3 first downs the entire afternoon, but 2 of them have come in the last 3 plays. Here you see it's been all Alabama today, but now the Cougars driving into Alabama territory for the first time. From the 47, Joseph looking to go up top, deflected and almost intercepted. That's a great read by Prince Hall, who had an interception a week ago in Jacksonville. But you see the athleticism there of the Bama linebacker, 5'11", 235 out of Moreno Valley, California.
We talk about different looks Alabama brings. This time, Rashad Johnson comes on the safety blitz. That puts Prince Hall in one-on-one coverage with Mark Hafner, and he does a great job of stepping in front. Prince Hall has tremendous speed. He recognizes the route, gets up underneath.
Wallace Gilberry's still trying to figure out how that one didn't deflect off of one of his hands. If it was a kick, it would have been considered splitting the uprights as he had him up there, but went right between the 2 mitts. They'll try to set up the screen, but it's broken up. That's a great job, first by Simeon Castile and then Zeke Knight, who came in to apply the finishing blow.
Well, half the defensive plays are made purely on effort. You see Zeke Knight here recognizing the screen pass as well, able to peel off of his rush and able to get over there to make the tackle. But good job also by Simeon Castile forcing it inside. That's what you want to do on the screen passes, is force that running back inside where all your help is.
So 3rd and 10. 7.5 to play before intermission. Bama men's basketball coach Mark Godfrey, our guest at halftime. Cougars looking, throwing, and a great job by the official to break that one up. Art Briles is livid, but that's just football, folks. Wrong place at the wrong time for the umpire, and it's a break for the Crimson Tide.
They probably would have had an opportunity to pick up a lot of yardage on this play, but for whatever reason, Harvey wants to run right where the umpire is. It's not like he hadn't been out there all afternoon.
Thomas Floyd, not a little guy either. Hard to miss him. But we'll take whatever help we can get. Turner with his 3rd punt. And Arenas wisely lets this one go into the end zone. So Alabama will start at their own 20-yard line when we come back to Tuscaloosa. 7:06 to play, first half. It's been all Crimson Tide thus far. Alabama's defense doing its job, and the offense helping out as well. 23-0. Crimson Tide leading midway through the 2nd quarter. John Parker Wilson with Lynn Coffey in the backfield on play action, looking for DJ Hall, looking for the Bama record. He's got it. DJ Hall on the receiving end of a beautiful throw from John Parker Wilson. And with that grab, Hall is 3rd catch of the day, 153rd of his career, and he has just passed Freddie Millens as Alabama's all-time leading receiver with now 153.
John Parker Wilson waited to the last moment to throw this pass as well, but look at DJ Hall with the burst of speed right there at the end, able to run that down.
And after all of that, they're going to review it. 43 yards on the completion. Let's look at it again and see if it'll hold up. the run game allowing Alabama to go up top.
Don't miss Mary Marquette. The shopping begins November 2nd, 3rd, and 4th at the Bryan Conference Center. More than 70
See if we can tell from here.
clothing for ladies, men, and children. Gourmet food, gifts, jewelry, accessories, decorative items for your home, and more.
Tyler, there was some separation, but it looked like it bounced off his hands.
I think that left forearm was still up under the ball.
He already broke Ozzie Newsom's record for most career receiving yards. If that catch stands, he will have surpassed Freddie Millen's with 153 for his career. That's the kind you're supposed to make to break the record. He'll take a shuffle pass if that's what it takes, but that's the guy that's supposed to hold up. Good to see John Parker put enough air out there for the guy to go get it, though.
But not too much air like what we've seen in the last several weeks. You saw that backside corner come all the way off of his coverage and was right there when the completion was made.
Let's go down to our Cook's Pest Control bench reporter, sideline reporter, excuse me, Barry Krause.
Hey, Chris, you got to be impressed with John Parker Wilson doing a good job with the cadence. He's been able to neutralize the defensive lineman for Houston. What he's doing is when he's barking it out, you see those defensive linemen jump prior to the snap. That means they have to get back and reset again. Well, that takes away a lot of their momentum and aggressiveness. So you're seeing them being able to run the ball more effectively, and also their pass rush is really basically almost null and void because he can't get any momentum to the quarterback. But really, John Parker Wilson doing a great job with the cadence and neutralizing the defensive lineman.
Thank you, Barry. And again, just a lot of different things clicking for Alabama in this one today.
But it all starts with that line of scrimmage. They never get enough credit, but they are the ones directly responsible for the success of this offense. Because if they're able to establish the running game, there's no telling how productive that they can be, because it really just opens everything else up.
After review, video evidence confirms that the ball hit the ground. Therefore, it's an incomplete pass. It'll be 2nd and 10 at the 20-yard line.
So wipe off the 43 yards, and for the moment, he is still tied with Freddie Millen's.
Well, I can see the backside of the ball there that time. Let's see where they derive their call from.
I would be a little more upset if it were not 23-0. Second and 10. Coffee picks up a couple. It'll bring up 3rd down and 9. 6:48 ticking. Our time left here in the second quarter. 23-0 Alabama lead. The Tide marching 80 yards on its first series. 4.5 minutes went off the clock, capped by a quarterback sneak from John Parker Wilson on 3rd down. Nick Saban's team then got a sack in the end zone. An intentional grounding penalty was called, resulting in a safety. Tide offense then went 66 yards in 10 plays. Another 85-yard drive, both of those last two covering 23 yards, and we've got a flag that comes in as the catch is made, and we'll see if the record is wiped off one more time.
Houston's pointing towards Alabama.
It was a heck of a throw, and it was plenty of yardage for the first down.
Ineligible receiver, number 11, was covered up and went downfield on the offense. That's a 5-yard penalty. Repeat 3rd down.
That's the second time Alabama's had that penalty called on a receiver this year. It was actually Hall that had it whistled on him, I believe, against Georgia or Arkansas. And now Cadell guilty there.
That's one of those middle mistakes. That's just an alignment error. And if you're supposed to be off the ball as a wide receiver, you got to make sure you're off. Otherwise, anyone inside of you is ineligible.
6:15 to go before the half. 3rd down and 13 now for Alabama. They'll dump it off. Coffee looking for a block. Gets one, needed another. And the Tide will have to punt for just the 2nd time. Ernest Miller and Cody Lubajowski, the two linebackers, combining on that stop.
And Britt's able to get out here on the little screen pass to Coffee. He's able to get upfield, does a good job there. Just needs one more blocker as number 5, Ernest Miller for Houston, is able to come up and make the tackle.
So Fitzgerald on to punt for the second time. His first covered 44 yards. Tarek Williams is the deep man. Low wobbly kick. And it will take an Alabama roll down to the 35-yard line. Not the best effort from Fitzgerald. It's down at the 35. Alabama's defense really has been tremendous, holding this wide open Cougar attack to very, very little.
Well, they brought a lot of pressure and able to get to Joseph Smith, or excuse me, Blake Joseph all afternoon. Here you see once again pressure in the end zone, forces the safety. Gilberry, Saunders, Ezekiel Knight, all of them able to, Washington able to get into the backfield and make plays happen.
Even when they finally get some time to throw, you see the Bama reaction has been good. Now they're going to go up top for it all. They've got a man. It is caught and then dropped. That's a break for the Crimson Tide, as Donnie Avery had 2 steps on Simeon Castile, but could not hang on to it. You see the arm shrink that Joseph has right there.
Well, and Avery has been their playmaker at the wide receiver position all year long, progressively getting better during each game. This one was just thrown a little bit too far. He had to kick it in that overdrive, lost his concentration as he tried to haul it in.
We had praised the defense perhaps a wee bit too much in a split second too soon. They almost got burned for the home run there. Instead, they'll go to Aldridge. And Aldridge will get good yardage. He's going to be shy of the first down mark by about 1.5 yards. Wallace Gilberry finally chasing him down. Talked about Donnie Avery. He's averaging over 100 yards receiving per game, right at 109. He is a senior from right there in Houston. Tremendous speed. They'll hurry. They'll lose the football. It's on the ground, and the play is still alive. And did they get the first down? They did. That looked so messed up, it almost looked like a design play. It almost looked like a gadget.
And in this offense, it wouldn't be unusual. Ezekiel Knight comes up and does a good job of popping the quarterback, Joseph. And as you said, Aldridge able to pick it up and just make something happen out of nothing.
Actually, Terrence Ganaway they had in there, freshman out of DeKalb, Texas. And look what I found. Everybody else is looking for the needle in the haystack, and he came out with it to pick up the first. Pressure coming. Joseph eludes it, throws, pass incomplete. Trying to connect with Avery again. And it deflects out of his hand, incomplete.
I guess the biggest question that we need to answer right here is, how did Joseph elude Prince Hall? You see him coming on pressure right there and had him right for the picking.
That's what Coach Saban talked about earlier this week. The pressure has been there from the front 7. They have missed, though, on opportunities like that. That's why the sack numbers aren't as good as they'd like. 2nd and 10. Again, the ball hits the ground. Joseph, though, wrapped up, throws, pass complete. First down yardage. And then bumped out of bounds is Donnie Avery. Great job of improv after the ball hit the turf. And again, Bama's there but can't finish off the play.
Yeah, but even after the pressure comes, after the bobbled snap, Joseph does a good job of maintaining his composure. He knows where he wants to go with the football, and he's able to pick up Avery. Looks like Johnson thought there was going to be contact in that, and the sack made in the backfield and came off his coverage a little.
22 yards on the game. And they'll work the no-huddle offense with 4 minutes left to go in the half. Give to Aldridge, trying to get to the corner. And instead, he'll get out of bounds right at the 30, a gain of 1 yard. That's a long way to go for 3 feet, but the clock stops with 3:49 to go. It sets up 2nd and 9.
What Houston wanted to do was really just make sure that no penetration came through, nobody scraped down the line of scrimmage on the part of Alabama, and allow Aldridge to get outside of the corner. But as we saw, it was great effort getting upfield, knocking Aldridge back, getting him off his path. And he's only able to gain about a yard or two. That's a good stop there for Alabama.
2nd and 9. Joseph working from the gun. Looking for it all. He's got a man. He is open, but he threw it out of bounds, and they're going to throw a very late flag. And I'm not certain this won't be offensive pass interference.
Well, there was a definite pick going on out there because you had 3 players on the ground.
And 2 of them were wearing crimson. Wait until they sort this one out. Again, Mark Curl's our lead official.
There's no foul for offensive pass interference. The pass was uncatchable. It's 3rd down.
I guess that's the only benefit of throwing it 5 yards out of bounds.
So it was, the initial thought was offensive pass interference. And we'll look at it again and see if you can pick it up.
Well, Alabama's been playing a lot of man coverage, and what you want to do against that is run what's called a pick route, where you cross your receivers up, hoping that they rub on each other and at least slow them down. What you can't do is make contact with them downfield.
3rd and 9, Bama defense trying to get a stop. They got a man across the middle, incomplete again, trying to connect with Donnie Avery, but Alabama's defensive front putting enough pressure on Joseph. He had to unload it a little quicker than he wanted to.
Well, they're benefiting from 2 things. Dedrick, Washington, all the guys are able to get into the backfield and get those hands up and cause a lot of pressure. You see Prince Hall back there as well. But Joseph is off his target also. He's getting some open receivers. He's throwing it a step behind him, and he's not taking advantage of his opportunities.
And not a lot of confidence in T.J. Lawrence, who missed 3 kicks a week ago. So they'll go for it on 4th and 9, also down 23-0. They feel like field goal doesn't do them a whole lot of good, but now you've got a timeout called, and the Cougars will wisely look this over. So let's see, did Bama call the timeout? I guess they did. 3:38 time left here in the 2nd quarter. It's been all Alabama so far. The Crimson Tide, 209 yards of total offense. Houston with 68, about 60 of those coming in the last 2 series. You look at the average yards per play, and that jumps out at you as well. Bama with 6 yards per play to just 2.6 for the Cougars, but for a long time it was at less than a yard.
If it wasn't negative. The Alabama defense, though, has continued to do a good job, as we've seen the last 2 weeks, playing with a lot of heart, flying around to the football, making a lot of things happen.
So Alabama trying to get a victory on homecoming. Ironically, the last time Alabama lost a homecoming game, 2001, they lost to LSU on homecoming. Guess who the head coach of the purple and gold was that day? I just know he looks a lot better in crimson and white. Nick Saban. The head coach then, now the Bama head man. Pressure coming. Joseph throwing. Firing, and it's out of bounds. And again, the Alabama defense doing its job. Brandon Dedrick, Zeke Knight, Wallace Gilberry, all in the face at one point or another of Blake Joseph, who was fortunate to be able to unload this one.
Well, Prince Hall lines up over the 3rd receiver inside for Houston, but then comes on the pressure. You see him jump right there. Joseph wanted to throw the ball, but knew it would get batted away, so he's the one that causes him to cower down and is able to allow the rest of the guys to get to him. A great individual effort all the way around.
So now with 3:30 to go in the half, Bama with a chance to perhaps the final nail. I hate to say that at halftime, but you go up 30, you got to like your chances. Upchurch on the give up to the 34-yard line. That's a great thing when you got 2 timeouts left, or actually 1 timeout left still. Gonna have to get in a big hurry.
And when you drove the field with 56 seconds last week, you know that you can do it also.
So 2nd and 7 for the Tide. Will Oakley in at wide out, along with Earl Washington. Those are to the top of your picture. And Upchurch, the lone setback. You see, the Tide doesn't necessarily need a lot of time in order to score, but Upchurch slips down. He got a yard. He would have had more, but he tripped or slipped actually as he went across the 34-yard line.
Yeah, Ernest Miller comes in on the blitz for Houston. This is really a good defense catching him in that blitz to run that play versus, as you said, the footing just not there.
Brown, McCoy, Cadell, Hall all checking in now for Alabama on 3rd and 5.
You got to find a way to convert this one. You definitely don't want to have a 4th down stop and then go 3 and out and have to punt the ball right back to Houston.
Wilson throwing in and out of the hands of Brown, and that's incomplete. If he makes the grab, that's a 1st down up around the 45. Instead, Senior couldn't hang on to it, and the Tide will have to punt again.
Just a 5-yard out for Keith Brown. Ball was a little bit high. I don't know if he got deflected a little or not, but he's unable to bring it in. A little high, a little behind him.
So Wilson now 8 of 13 for 82 yards and a couple of touchdowns. Fitzgerald, another punt that's fielded by Williams, and great coverage there by Alabama. There's Rashad Johnson. See him in there a lot at free safety position, but the junior from Sulligent making the stop in special teams as well. So Alabama defense will have to do some work. Houston with all 3 timeouts remaining and 1:55 left on the clock. That's a disappointing series for Alabama offensively. You had a chance to do something and even got a nice 1st down pickup, but can't cash it in or even milk the clock for the remainder of the half. We'll see if the defense can step up again, though. They have dominated thus far. Inside handoff again to Aldridge, trying to bounce it to the corner. And he runs out of bounds, stopping the clock.
Ali Sharif takes a gamble right there, trying to make a play in the backfield. And it's a good thing that it was to this sideline, the short sideline. Otherwise, they might have had an opportunity, because he wasn't able to make the play. Might have had an opportunity to gain more than they did.
Coming up at the half, we'll talk with Alabama head basketball coach Mark Godfrey. We'll also have some numbers and highlights in the first 30 minutes of play. First quarter, a big one for the Tide. 23 points, nothing here in the second. Pass across the middle, caught. That's Avery, 1 man to beat. And he does. Touchdown, Houston. Marcus Carter trying to hang on. They had Avery earlier, and that play covering 68 yards, and the Cougars are back in it.
Houston comes back with vertical routes right here, and you have to think there's some sort of busting coverage. But Joseph isn't going to miss this one. He drills it in there to Avery, who takes care of the rest.
Again, he averages over 109 yards per game receiving, and plays like that, a big reason why. So Bama a chance to go to the locker room up no worse than 23-0. Now leads at 23-6. As Lawrence will try the extra point. It's perfect, as he's now 18 of 18 for the year, and that won't make the head coach very happy. 2 plays, 68 yards, 17 seconds is all that it took to get right back in the ball game.
That's an interesting thing about Houston, is the fact that their last 2 wins, or 2 games that they've played in, they overcame a 17-point deficit versus Colorado State and came back to get within 2, a 13-point deficit versus Eastern Carolina. So it's not a team that you can count out just because they get behind.
And East Carolina was a game where they missed 2 field goals in the 4th quarter late that would have won the ball game for them. But the Cougars still very dangerous, and you have to tip your hat to them. Their defense run over basically in the first quarter of play. The offense able to do nothing for a quarter and a half. But now Art Briles Cougars starting to bite back a little bit. They had a chance for a touchdown on their previous series, but a drop pass on a deep ball. Avery able to make amends for that mistake, and now John Parker Wilson, the Bama offense, couldn't hang on to the ball, or at least hang on to the drive and choose some more time off that clock moments ago. Now maybe in a position where they're looking to try and answer back on a score.
Yeah, I definitely look for Alabama to try to open it a little more, try to gain bigger chunks of yardage on first and second down to give themselves an opportunity for at least a field goal. Plenty of time, 1:38 to work with. Just run your offense. You don't have to press, but at the same time, you want to try to push the field vertically, try to get a big play or two.
Lawrence's kickoff taken in the end zone. And some running room up near the 19-yard line for Jonathan Lowe. So Alabama will start from the 19, 1st and 10 right there. There's John Parker Wilson of the Bama offense. Again, a great first quarter, but very quiet so far in the second. First quarter, Alabama had 201 yards of total offense, but they've had just 13 yards here in quarter number 2. Coffee back in the ball game, dotting the I as McCall shifts. They'll give it to Coffee, and he will bounce off a couple of tacklers and pick up about 8 yards on that play. Tate Stewart, the nose tackle, making the stop, and Bama going with the red ball offense, the hurry-up offense, but a timeout called by the Cougars leaves them with 2. And this is where Bama's offense has been most effective, especially the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's twofold though. I think they're sticking to some plays they're probably a little bit more comfortable with, and that are really exploiting the defenses, the weaknesses in these defenses versus the prevent, which is what a lot of teams will go to, where they're willing to give up 10, 15 yards on a pass play. They just don't want to break and give up the deep one for a quick score. So Alabama has really flourished in these type of situations.
Right now you're Alabama and you have dominated the ball game. You did the first quarter anyway. But Houston answering back in the second, and instead of feeling extremely good about where you are, now there's a little bit of a downer. You've got some time to turn that around, but that's why I think this last 125 is so important from a momentum standpoint. You make a mistake here, Houston's back in it, but you still have a chance to really take the win completely out of Houston's sails if you get a score.
Well, you do, but you know Houston's going to come back in the second half. But what it really does is open up these guys' eyes to realize they're not as far ahead as they thought that they were, and they're going to have to continue to play hard.
It's very similar to the Arkansas ball game, frankly, when Alabama went up 21-0 in the first quarter and then had to scrap and claw, fell behind in the fourth, and then came back to get the victory. As the Cougars will call another timeout to stop the clock. They want the football back. It's going to be 3rd and less than a yard upcoming for the Crimson Tide. And Art Briles' offense, which was basically shut out in the first 15 minutes, wanting the ball back, wanting to gain a little more momentum. In first quarter numbers, they had 1 first down. They had 4 yards rushing. They had no yards passing. And Alabama, which on the year has converted on 37% of its third down plays. It's 2 of 6 so far this afternoon. One of those covering a touchdown. Barry Krause, what have you got for us?
Oh, well, you know, when you talk about identity, you know, one of the things Coach Saban doesn't want to give up this week was the big play. And, you know, here this football team had played so well all through that first half, and all of a sudden they gave up the big play late just prior to the halftime. So, you know what, I'll tell you this, it'll be interesting. I think if Nick Saban was looking for a motivational speech at halftime, I think he found it.
I think you're exactly right. And the officials will stop the clock and bring the chains over to measure the game with 1:13 on the clock. Next up for the Crimson Tide, a morning trip to Oxford, Mississippi to take on Ole Miss. Clearly Alabama had the first down, and now the Tide They change its focus a little bit. They're going to hurry to the line of scrimmage, and they're going to go from conservative mode to try to put themselves in position to get some points.
I think on the first down on the previous series there that they were trying to see what they could get, got close enough to say, hey, we got to get this first down before we start throwing the football around. Now they should really start opening it up.
They'll give it up the middle of Coffee, and he will pick up about 4 yards on the play. May have been a bit of a disguise, but nope, Tide is going to hurry to the line of scrimmage again. Under a minute to go. And they call this the red ball offense, the hurry up for Alabama. Dumping it off, Coffee. Got one block, needed another. Gets to the 37-yard line. And the clock ticks under 40 seconds. Ernest Miller making the stop.
We are on the play. Third and 3.
Had Cardwell out there, just wasn't able, the timing just wasn't right. Cardwell wasn't able to get to Miller before Coffee could cut back up underneath. Had he been able to do that, he would have picked up the first down yardage and more.
Wilson looking, throwing, pass caught. Cadell up to the 49-yard line with 10 seconds to go. Now let's see if Bama hurries to the line and tries to stop the clock.
Cadell just runs a square in right here at about 15 yards and does a good job of sitting up underneath that safety. Alabama needs probably another 20 yards for a legitimate shot for Lee Tiffin.
They've got one timeout left, plus they can use the boundary if necessary. Wilson, the short drop, looking, dumping it off. Coffee trying to cut it back, and he slipped. And Alabama will see the clock hit zeros as the first half comes to a close. Disappointing way for the half to come to a close, but all in all, pretty good for the Crimson Tide. 23-7. Alabama with the lead over the Houston Cougars. It was 23-0 Alabama at the end of the first quarter, but Houston answers back, puts some points on the board. And now here's Barry Krause with Tide head coach Nick Saban.
A good solid first half, just gave up the big play at the end of it.
Well, yeah, we've been playing a lot of trying to stop all the runs and screen passes that they run, and they've, throwing a couple deep ones on us, and, they finally hit one there, but we busted what we were supposed to be doing. So, we can't make any mental errors against these guys. They got too many good players, and they can make big plays on you in a hurry. It's going to be important for us to get back to where we're dominating the ball and keeping the ball on offense like we did in the first quarter.
John Parker doing a good job of making the adjustments on the line of scrimmage.
Did a good job in the first half, made some good throws, had a couple opportunities to make some other big plays. We just 50 minutes here.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Barry. Thank you, Coach. 23-7. Alabama leading it at the break. When we come back, Tide men's basketball coach Mark Godfrey joining us here on Crimson Tide pay-per-view. Bama goes to Ole Miss next week, and then Tennessee comes to Tuscaloosa on the 20th. You've got an off week for the Tide, and then a big one against LSU on November 3rd before going to Mississippi State, hosting Louisiana Monroe, and then wrapping up the year at Auburn on November 24th. First half for John Parker Wilson individually, Tyler, 11 of 16, 105 yards, a couple of scores. But as Barry Krause talked about, did some other things that won't show up on the stat sheet that were pretty effective for the Tide.
Something's going on there at the line of scrimmage, whether it be his cadence, if he's giving them a hard count. But something this Alabama team is doing is causing Houston to jump off sides, and they're really doing a good job of keeping them off balance with the cadence first and foremost.
One thing that they're doing very well is adjusting to a new look on that offensive front. As we talked about earlier, Marlon Davis not getting the start. He missed a couple of days due to personal reasons, excused absence, but did not play and has not started this ball game. That means that Evan Cardwell has gotten the start at center, the 6'2 sophomore out of Brooks High School in Killen, Alabama. Move Antoine Caldwell over to right guard, and the Alabama offense looked very sharp in the first quarter despite those changes.
Yeah, you've been seeing a lot of pulling by the middle three guys with Cardwell and Britt and Caldwell doing a good job of getting out on these defensive backs for Houston and making some big plays happen for the Alabama running backs.
A lot of games going on around the country in college football. One game in the SEC already today. You had Auburn defeating Vanderbilt 35-7. Impressive win for the Tigers. We'll be passing along some more scores to you in a moment, but this Alabama team coming out, starting the third quarter defensively, especially, Tyler, I think is so big to maybe try to do what you did the first quarter, which is lock down an extremely potent Houston offense.
Yeah, the last three possessions that Houston has had the football, they've had some success running and passing, so they're starting to find some things, getting a little rhythm themselves. What you want to do is just make sure that you come out, you play sound first and foremost. You're not giving up that big play, and that you make them earn every yard that they get. You want to get a 3 and out, but if need be, you just want to force the punt to get your offense back out there on the field.
The Red River rivalry game between Texas and Oklahoma taking place at the Cotton Bowl. They're tied at 14 late in the second quarter of that one. More than a little bit of a surprise in Knoxville, Tennessee today. With a minute 25 to go in the half, Tennessee leads Georgia 28-0 in that ball game. So the Volunteers, who are in danger of picking up their second loss in conference play, instead answer with 4 touchdowns and have the Bulldogs in a world of hurt right now. Other top 25 games, number 6 South Florida, which just doesn't even sound right, leading Florida Atlantic 7-0. That is late in quarter number 2. Roy Upchurch saw some playing time in the first quarter. 4 carries, 28 yards. His longest covering 22. He averaged almost 7 yards per carry. Terry Grant only a couple of carries. Those did come on the first series, though, Tyler, when Glenn Coffey got the start. I think you may see more of this as the year continues. Yes, Terry Grant had the great start to the year, but these are 3 guys that they feel very good about moving the football offensively.
And all 3 of them are capable, and I think the only thing that would prevent that from happening is if you were to get one of them just in some sort of unreal rhythm of running the football, you might want to give him some more carries.
You can go with the hot hand, if you will, as Lee Tiffin's kickoff will be fielded at the 10. And breaking 1 tackle, but not a second, was the Cougars' Quinta Williams.
Chris Rogers right there. What effort. Did you see him? He had a blocker on him and just drove him right back into the returner, Williams.
Correction, that was Chris Gilbert. They have 2 number 8s. They have Quinta Williams, the cornerback, and Chris Gilbert, who's a wideout, used in the return game there. It'll be 1st and 10 Cougars at their own 18-yard line. Just underway, third quarter action. Glad to have you with us here on Crimson Tide pay-per-view. I'm Chris Stewart along with Tyler Watts. Barry Krause handles our Cook's Pest Control sideline reports. We'll hear from him a bit later. Inside handoff and so much running room for Anthony Aldridge. Again, he had very little success in the first quarter or in the first half running the football. Only 13 yards on 1 carry in quarter number 1, and at the half 7 carries for 47, but he picks up big yardage there for the first down.
Alabama really just over pursue and really stopped at the point of attack where Houston wanted to be at, but Aldridge does a good job of cutting back.
15 yards on the pickup, and Wallace Gilberry not only took on a blocker but used him to knock down the ball carrier.
Little inside trap there this time, a little give in for Houston, but as you said, Gilberry, he's not fooled at all. He just follows the tight end as he went back across the formation and made the tackle.
2nd down and 9. As the Bama defense gives up a first down on the first play of the second half, but now tries to get a stop Little dump across the middle and a nice tackle by Kareem Jackson, but not until Jerron Harvey gets very close to that first down mark.
Soft zone coverage this time for Alabama. Once again, they don't want to give up any of the deep stuff. They don't want to give up the cheap, 20, 30-yard gains, forcing everything up underneath.
So 3rd and a yard. Brian Motley checking in on that defensive front for Alabama. And a timeout called by Houston.
Timeout. Alabama.
Check it. Alabama calling a timeout. And a lot of confusion. Alabama was trying to rush some people on defensively. The Cougars trailing 23-7. They'll have 3rd and short when we come back to Tuscaloosa. 7-hour score with Tyler Watts. I'm Chris Stewart. Let's get a Cook's Pest Control sideline report from Barry Krause.
Hey, Chris, just before halftime, Keith Saunders, our Jack linebacker, actually limped into the locker room with a trainer. Wasn't quite sure what he was going to do, but he came back out. He was in a 3-point stance. He was pushing off, and now he's back in the game. So good news with Keith Saunders back in the game.
It is good to have Saunders back because he has recorded 22 tackles for Alabama this year. He's not in on this play, though, as on 3rd and a yard. Joseph will work from the shotgun. Handoff, Aldridge, flag on the play. First down pickup, but let's wait and see what the call will be from Mark Curls, our lead referee. Wallace Gilberry says it's against the Cougars. He doesn't get a vote, unfortunately, but he may be right.
Illegal formation. Only 6 men on the line of scrimmage on the offense. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
One of the dangers of going with that unorthodox look on offense, sometimes you can out-trick yourself if guys aren't lined up right.
Well, you definitely have to practice it over and over and over, aligning the people in different, shifting out of the formation into another, getting folks situated and settled before the snap of the ball. Otherwise, you will have an illegal shift.
Art Briles not at all happy with the call, and they'll give a sideline warning to the Cougars. Had a great high school coaching career before going to the collegiate ranks, working at Texas Tech at Stephenville High School. He won 4 state titles in a 10-year period. And then took his career to Texas Tech before becoming the head man at the University of Houston, where he played for the Cougars. Now there's some discussion among the officials as to perhaps where they're going to spot this thing. And they're trying to check up top, see exactly where the ball should be spotted.
Please reset the game clock to 13 minutes, 17 seconds.
They've decided the ball is in the right spot. They need the clock reset, and they have to 13 minutes, 17 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. May not seem like a big deal, but you haven't seen the Tide's last 3 ball games if you don't think seconds are precious in the 2nd half. 3rd and a long 6. Cougars line up the line of scrimmage and then get the play signaled in. Still plenty of time on the play clock. It's just now at 5. Quick slant pass is caught. Another flag on the play. It should be a first down for Tarek Williams, depending on what the flag is. 7 yards on the pickup. Let's see if they wipe it off.
Illegal formation. Number 77, offense was not on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Back-to-back procedure penalties.
And what this is sometimes, and especially in passing situations, that tackle and that guard will really start bowing back into the backfield so they can get a better angle on that defensive end that's about to come at them. Go ahead and cheat back another yard or 2 so they're able to buy that extra time to get situated. And there comes a point when you're not on the line of scrimmage anymore.
3rd and 11. Play clock down to 8 seconds. They snap it with 3. Joseph under pressure, dumps it off, incomplete. Tell you what, he had to get out of town in a hurry. Wallace Gilberry was chasing him. He tried to connect with Anthony Aldridge, but pass was at his ankles and he couldn't hang on to it.
Yeah, Gilberry has been in the backfield all day long, pressuring Joseph, and here he does it again, trying to set up the screen route. McClain was also there at the point of attack, so I don't believe they'd have been able to pick up anything anyway.
Chase Turner on to punt. First half, 3 punts, averaging 41.7 per kick. He had a long of 51. Another booming kick here. Arenas set to field it at his 25. Broke free from one man, but then will be brought down back at the 27-yard line. And that's where the Tide will have possession. 1st and 10 when we come back to Tuscaloosa. 41-yard punt, 2 yards on the return. Bama on top, 23-7 here in Tuscaloosa. Offensive series for the Bama offense here in the 3rd quarter. Play action. Wilson looking across the middle. Walker is there. Great grab. 1st down into Houston territory and goes out of bounds at the 45-yard line. That's a great grab. Throw was a little bit high, but Walker full extension on that 6'5" frame to reel it in.
Yeah, nice play action pass this time for the Alabama offense. John Parker Wilson buying himself some time. Wide open Nick Walker. Schwartz actually came down in run support for Houston and left the middle of the field wide open.
26 yards on the play. Bama hurries to the line. Coffee to give. Tried to cut it back. Does so nicely. Getting inside the 40 to the Houston 39-yard line. Rocky Schwartz, the free safety, coming up to make the hit. Good first half numbers for Coffee, as we told you. 17 carries, 76 yards. Averaging 4.5 per rush. He gained 6 on that play. So from the 39, as you look at Wilson's numbers so far. Coffee again. Getting close to the 1st down mark, but he's going to be about a yard shy. Cody Lubajowski, the good linebacker, making the hit.
We talk so much about personnel as far as what you're trying to do offensively. Alabama has McCall in. He's considered a tight end. He's able to go out on pass routes. He does a lot of blocking from the line of scrimmage, but they'll also place him in the backfield and use him more or less as a fullback.
3rd and less than a yard for the Tide. Wilson keeping it himself. Kyle moves forward, and that will move the chains as well. 10:49 time on the 3rd quarter clock as Alabama with a little extracurricular activity. John Parker Wilson not afraid to stick his nose up there on a running play or afterwards.
You don't think that's going to get the linemen fired up? A little pushing in. Now there's no telling what's going on at the bottom of that pile, I promise you.
A lot of unspeakable things, as you are well aware of. Play action. Bama looking up top, looking for DJ Hall. He's in the end zone. Did he make the catch? No. Great effort, but Hall couldn't reel it in.
It's hard to tell. There's some leakage coming through the line of scrimmage, and it might just be that it's time to throw the football. You saw John Parker Wilson picking himself up. But you talk about putting that air up under it. When it's a one-on-one situation and nobody else can react to the ball, that's when you want to put a lot of air. Allow your wide receiver to try and track it down.
So sure, he saw that football completely at the end. That looked very awkward at the end of that play, but nonetheless, a little shuffle pass, almost dropped. And the Tide fortunate to get it back. A loss of 1 on the play. Glenn Coffee on the reception there. This one never got started well.
And this play worked really well here in the first half, and they were able to get a big gain off of, but this time Houston is not fooled at all. And there's just not that penetration that Alabama was hoping that they would have.
So now 3rd and 11 for the Crimson Tide as Wilson breaks the huddle. He'll have Brown and Cadell to the top of your picture. Hall in the slot to the near side with McCoy, the wide out to the bottom of your screen. Wilson with time. Throw is high. May have been hit as he unloaded the football. It sailed on him a bit.
You know, this is not completely uncommon, that last play from one they faced down in Florida State right before the half, where you're in that in-between place where you want to pick up the first down, but even if you pick up 6-7 yards, able to get a completion, you give Lee Tiffin an opportunity to kick a long field goal. But now Alabama's going to be forced to punt.
Play field position here is your defense, with the exception of the one big play. Has done a pretty nice job this afternoon. Actually gave up 2 big plays, only one of which that the Cougars were able to convert on. They dropped what would have been a touchdown on a series earlier in that second quarter. Fitzgerald, a high spiraling kick. Can anybody get there? No. It carries into the end zone. That'll be a touchback. He has had 11 punts down inside the 20 this year, but that's the 4th touchback of the year for Fitzgerald. 9:35 to go in the third. Bama still leading it, 23-7. Young and old alike enjoying Alabama's homecoming game against the Houston Cougars. Simeon Castile, the Bama defense, doing a nice job of holding the 23rd best passing offense in the country. Only 106 yards so far in the first quarter. Held them without a single passing yard. But since then, Blake Joseph and the Cougars have warmed up a bit. Still, Alabama doing a nice job. Pressure. Joseph looking. Little option pitch right side. And picking up the first down yardage and more is Terrence Ganaway. Said the option pitch. It really was just the look. That was his last option. He wanted to throw the football downfield, but a good job on the lateral.
Yeah, he buys himself a lot of time working his feet in the pocket. Then even here he wants to run it, but McClain's there and would have stuffed him at the line of scrimmage. So that's just a heads-up place by Joseph.
16 yards on that play, and had he thrown that forward, it would have been an illegal forward pass, as I believe he had moved a yard beyond the line of scrimmage, but instead it picks up 16. It's Anthony Aldridge getting 5, maybe 6 yards, and we're starting to see that Houston offense click just a bit. You don't want to spend too much time out on that field if you're the Bama defense.
Yeah, Aldridge is just so quick between the tackles. You see him get past Motley right there that had an opportunity there in the backfield, but just too much quickness. He's able to explode through the on tackle.
Tyrone King checks out, and we'll see another linebacker come in, and Darren Mustin. Seen as many as 6 defensive backs often today for the Tide. Again, Aldridge getting to the corner. Man, the speed he has to hit the corner and then change direction upfield, easy to see why he's averaging well over 100 yards per game.
Yeah, he is so fast. And here Houston just does a good job of getting to the edge. They're able to keep all the Alabama defenders from scraping down. And now you're starting to see the rhythm right here of the play calling. They're setting their guys up for opportunities to have success.
9 yards on that game, good enough for the first. And now they're in the Alabama half of the field at the 49. A rather quiet crowd here in the third, starting to wake up just a bit. Joseph, short drop, pass deflected in and out of the hands of his intended receiver. That was Tarek Williams.
That pass was hot.
It was. He was running out of time, for one thing.
Yeah, but if you're going to throw a slant route here, and this is good coverage as well, if you're going to throw a slant route, you have got to stick it in there.
He tried. Tyrone King in coverage for Alabama. Little quick out, trying to create some open space for Donnie Avery, and Alabama had that one read well. Picks up 4, maybe 5. It'll be 3rd and long. Tyrone King seeing a lot of playing time. A 5'11" sophomore out of Birmingham. He transferred from Grambling State. So a 5-yard pickup, 3rd and a long 5 right here.
This is a big play right here for Alabama.
They'll go across the middle. They'll complete it, and they'll pick up another first. Jerron Harvey, junior out of Jacksonville, Florida, converting. 10 yards on the play.
Well, Alabama takes a gamble right here and brings Simeon Castile on the pressure. They drop the running back to pick up Castile, and that puts Carter on Harvey on that little square end, and that's one that the big, tall wide receiver is going to win.
They're now 3 out of 9 on third down conversions of the Cougars. Hand off once again to Aldridge, and no running room there for him. Alabama did a good job of wrapping him up there in Huston, the senior out of Brentwood, Tennessee. Getting the stop. Lance Thompson, one of the assistants for Nick Saban's squad. Outside linebackers coach. 20th year part of the Bama staff. Excuse me, as a coach, I should say. Joseph throwing, caught, and knocked out of bounds. Castile with the hit, but connecting with Harvey once again. 7 yards on that play. It'll be 3rd and short.
So much pressure. The Alabama front four has been able to give so much pressure in the backfield. This time Houston just wants to move the pocket, buy their quarterback a second or two, enable him to see a little more clearly without those big arms, those big guys coming at him, and he takes advantage of it.
So 3rd and 3. Midway through the 3rd quarter, Bama leading it 23-7, trying to keep it that way. Cougars trying to cut into the Bama lead. Little option pitch, wrapped up, stop made. Alabama defensively trying to make a wish right now with Blake Joseph. You had Lorenzo Washington and Wallace Gilberry in there along with Rolando McClain.
It's just a counter option play this time, and you'll see Aldridge out there. He wanted him to pitch him the ball. Had he done that, though, Kareem Jackson would have beheaded him.
So a loss of 1 on the play, and 4th and 4 upcoming. And now the Cougars will burn a timeout. Trying to talk things over. Again, they have struggled in the kicking game, or with their place kicking anyway. TJ Lawrence, 2 late misses a week ago that would have given Houston a win over East Carolina. He is 5 of 9 on the year. His longest has been from 46 yards. This one would be about 48, maybe 49. But the way the offense has been going, you really want to give them a chance right now if you're the Cougars.
I think they have a whole lot more to gain than they do lose.
0 for 1 on 1 4th down attempt so far. On the year, you have 5 of 7 coming into the game.
It's just kind of that no man's land right here. It's a long field goal. If you miss it, it's not great starting position for him. You punt it, you might pick up 10 yards.
Well, they brought in another quarterback, Case Keenum, the redshirt freshman out of Abilene, Texas, who has completed 63% of his passes on the year, checks in. So Joseph checks out. Keenum is in from the gun. The freshman looking. Unloads it. Pass is caught. 1st down. Big hit from Kareem Jackson on Jerron Harvey. A little better runner. And it looked like that may have been one of the initial options. However, he found Harvey wide open and connected for the 1st down.
Well, I also think that something that has to do with it is that Joseph got hit really hard on that last play, and he was a little shaken up.
I think you're exactly right. 10 yards on the gain, and the Cougars continue their march. Then they get to the line of scrimmage and then look to see what play head coach and offensive coordinator Art Briles wants. He calls the plays. Inside handoff, Aldridge. Not much room there. Wallace Gilberry, the first man to greet him. Gain of a yard.
Wallace Gilberry made the tackle.
You're talking about Keenum. He was really the spark when he came in versus Oregon in the first game of the season. It allowed Houston to put up a lot of numbers and had done a great job for them before hurting his hand last week.
Again, this is the 2nd best passing unit in Conference USA. 23rd best in the country. And after being shut out literally in the 1st half, they're now throwing for 135 yards. trying to get it in the end zone. Keenum having to run it, and Prince Hall will ride him down at the 17-yard line. So third down upcoming after the 3-yard pickup.
Houston wanted to set up a little wheel route over on the far side. It wasn't there. They did a nice job of trading off the coverage and forced Keenan to run it. And you want to force a throwing quarterback. You want to force any quarterback to have to run the ball so he can continually take those looks.
3rd and 7. Williams, Harvey, and Aldridge to the bottom of your picture. Donnie Avery's in the slot to the right. Flag on the play. Pressure coming. Keenum scrambling, throwing, pass, incomplete. We'll check the flag as Tyrone King was in coverage there. A great job, Alabama's secondary.
There are flags on the play.
Sideline warning on Houston. This is their second warning.
So apparently you had a coach in the ear of an official on the play. And so they'll get a second warning. And it'll bring up 4th down. And it will be T.J. Lawrence coming on to try the field goal. 34 yards on the attempt. The hold from Jordan Brown. Norby Juice is the snapper. Snap and spot are good. The kick is up, and the kick is good as well. So the Cougars have their drive stall, but they get the field goal. 13 plays, 63 yards, 4 minutes, 48 seconds. Capped by the field goal. .34 yards on that kick from T.J. Lawrence.
63 yards, 14 plays.
And the Cougars have pulled within 2 touchdowns of Alabama.
Yeah, it's still a 2-possession game if you are an Alabama fan, and you like to know that it is at least 2 possessions. But I think what these coaches are more concerned with is they've got to figure out a way to tack on some more points. 23 points will probably not be good enough against this potent Houston offense, and you cannot you can't rely solely on your defense to hold a lead like Alabama has right now. You have to continue to go out there, apply pressure on the opposing team, and continue to put up points, because you never know what it's going to take.
Art Briles, Houston Cougars, down but not out. They trailed 23-0 after Bama scored on the last play of the first quarter. I'll give them a lot of credit. The defense has really slowed Alabama down from that point on. Alabama had 201 yards total offense in the first quarter. They have had just 87 yards since that time. Again, we are in the latter third of quarter number 3. Another deep kickoff, and this one will go all the way through the back of the end zone. Tell you one thing, Lawrence may have struggled with his accuracy this year, as he's now 6 of 10 on field goals, but he has not lacked anything in leg strength. That one going through the end zone with the wind at his back. And Alabama will start at its own 20-yard line. It'll be Terry Grant who will come on and play tailback for the Tide, with 2 tight ends and a couple of wideouts in for Alabama. Delay give. Grant struggling to find running room, and he will lose 4 yards on the play, actually 5, as Brendan Pahulu records his 6th tackle for loss this year.
Just a counter play right here with McCall leading up the way, but there's too much penetration on the backside to allow the play to develop.
You know, for the last 2 weeks, we've heard about John Parker Wilson and his struggles. A lot of blame directed towards him. We've heard some blame toward Terry Grant, but guys up front have got to do the job. for those ball carriers to have success. And now the Bama offense being shut down. That was Glenn Coffey, who had nowhere to go.
Well, the third down conversion has been so bad simply because first and second down plays have been unproductive. When you're starting off 2nd and 12 and then are faced with a 3rd and 15 type scenario, chances are you're not going to make it but 20 or 30% of the time, which is what Alabama's third down conversion has been the last 2 games.
Alabama
20% and 30%.
Alabama 5 of 10 right now on third downs. They were 2 of 3 in the first quarter. Wilson on 3rd and 15. Pass is broken up. Incomplete. Trying to connect with Will Oakley, and Rocky Schwartz arrived just as the football and the receiver did. Pretty good effort on the part of Oakley, but couldn't hang on to it.
Well, the route was good. The timing was good. Schwartz just makes an outstanding play right here. Makes contact as the ball is coming in. Thought Oakley was still going to be able to grab it in. Might have been a little contact prior, but it was just prior. But once again, it comes down to 1st and 2nd down being unproductive.
Couple of running plays at negative yardage. And Fitzgerald, one of his better efforts of the day, into the wind. Drop. Alabama scoops it up. Tide has possession. Marquise Johnson picking up the loose football after Tarek Williams couldn't hang on to it. That kick went into the wind, and it kept moving back away from the return man who couldn't hang on to it.
Yeah, the nose never did turned over, and I think that's what kind of messed him up. You see there, he kind of looked up right as he was catching the football, and as you said, Marquise Johnson gets the gift from him, and that's a huge break for Alabama.
It is a big break, and the Tide not able to do anything offensively thus far in this half. Gets a break, and let's see if they do as so many do in this situation. Go up top, go for the kill.
Well, so many things are pointing towards that. You got a short field that you're working off a big turnover right there, and it's another opportunity to really hurt this Houston football team.
DJ Hall, one of the 2 wideouts. Nikita Stover, the other. Play action. They're looking for Hall. Instead, they'll go to Walker, the tight end, on the crossing route, and he will make the grab, step out of bounds at the 28-yard line. That's a great call right there. You send Hall deep, opening up the area left side for Walker, and there was plenty of room for the big tight end.
Yeah, Houston's playing a lot of man coverage, and they're putting a lot of pressure on their safeties and cornerbacks to guard those guys downfield, but they're also giving up a lot of cushion. Nick Walker takes advantage of that on the drag route. They ran this play earlier in the second quarter and had a huge gain on it as well.
16 yards on the connection. Bama moves the chains for the first time in this quarter. Give up the middle. Coffey struggles ahead for maybe 4 yards on the play. Matt Nicholson, weak side linebacker, making the hit.
They keep calling the run play, just waiting for these guys to really take control of this football game. They're giving them the opportunities, and at some point it's going to have to register with them. Even if they put an extra defender in the box, we've got to get our guy and allow that running back to make one guy miss.
2nd down and 7. Coffey, strong running inside the 20-yard line all the way down to the 16. Schwartz with the stop, but not until he picks up the first.
Well, you can't out-scheme everyone on every play. It eventually comes down to a man versus a man at the offensive line, and when you're able to get those big bodies on big bodies, Coffey's able to get to Schwartz, who's playing strong safety coming up on the run stop, and he's able to pick up the first down.
Coffey now at 95 yards. He's never had a 100-yard rushing game in an Alabama uniform, but just needs 5 more to hit that number. Short drop, quick out. Hall try to break the tackle, does get near the first down mark. What DJ has had success against Harry Simon all afternoon.
Well, Alabama has beaten this Houston defensive core so many times deep, and now they're starting to really give them a cushion, and they're taking advantage of it.
2nd and about a yard. Coffey cuts it back. stumbles inside the 5. That'll set up 1st and goal from about the 4.
And that's the look that we're talking about. You want your strong safety having a one-on-one tackling situation. Now I'm talking from the perspective of an offense with your running back, because that gives him an opportunity to make one move. Now he is picking up 6, 7, 8 yards, picking up 1st downs and getting inside the 5-yard line.
DJ Hall with that grab, his 3rd, and now he does have more receptions than anybody in Alabama football history. 153. Coffee, left side, pushing the pile into the end zone. Touchdown, Alabama. Edgewater Caldwell helping the pile move along. Coffee gets across the goal line and gets over the 100-yard mark as well. 101 the numbers now for Coffee on the day, the sophomore out of Fort Walton Beach, Florida.
Caldwell, here you see him, they're pulling, and after he not only knocks his guy back, he grabs a hold of the pile and throws Coffee in the end zone.
That is a pulling guard 2 different ways. Kick is up and true from Tiff. He pulled on the play, and then he pulled the pile into the end zone. And Alabama leads it now 30-10. Special teams miscue, setting up a short field for Alabama, and great to see the Tide offense respond.
And they have no choice but to respond. Defense has been playing very good all day. We've seen them bend a little bit these last few drives, but they have not broken. And now off of that gift on the special teams to give Alabama the short field, only about a 40-yard drive, they do exactly what they have to. They mix in the pass, take advantage of what the secondary has given them with 5- and 6-yard gains, but they go back to running the football.
Look at the touchdown play again.
And you've got to be able to run power football down at the goal line.
Glenn Coffee with his 3rd rushing touchdown of the year. Again, hits the century mark for the first time in an Alabama uniform. And the Tide extending that lead back to 20 points once again with 1:14 on the clock. Again, eerily similar to the Arkansas game, where Alabama extended its lead to 21 points at about this point of the game against the Hogs, only to see the Razorbacks reel off 21 straight. But the Tide would come back that day. Let's see what will happen here in the final 16+ minutes. The return from Anthony Aldridge, getting up across the 20 to the 25-yard line, 17 yards on that return. Again, a couple of milestones. Coffee with 100 yards rushing for the first time in his career, but also that last grab from DJ Hall, which set up 1st and goal, giving him now 153 catches for his career, more receptions than anybody in Alabama history. He replaces Freddie Millens atop the charts, who had 152. Case Keenum in at quarterback. Pressure coming. Mustin wraps him up, and he'll get the sack back at the 17-yard line. First sack of the year for Darren Mustin.
That's just incredible coverage that enabled the defensive line and Darren Mustin to be able to eventually run down Keenum. He has absolutely nowhere to throw the football.
6-yard loss on the play. Again, Mustin missing a good bit of that Arkansas game and all of the following week against Georgia. But too much running room there after the catch, as Anthony Aldridge, they call him Quick Six. No, he wears number 22. The guy can go the distance in a hurry, and you can see some of that explosiveness, turning a short gain into a big pickup, one that will move the sticks. 16 yards, resulting in a first down for the Cougars. And Art Briles doesn't like this because obviously, first of all, there's a chance it could come back. Second of all, it stops the momentum that his offense has gotten into. They've had some rhythm going. Let's see where the spot should have been made, if they got it right or not.
2 weeks featuring the pregame radio broadcast, live entertainment, the Alabama softball team signing
Don't really know what was in question. It didn't look like
much more. That's kickoff at the quad.
it didn't go down any time right in there.
Kareem Jackson kind of hanging on for dear life.
Post-game traffic updates will be given during the Crimson Tide post-game radio show and on 103.3 FM. For all your UA Game Day information and questions, visit UAGameDay.com.
One of those instant replays where it takes forever too.
So 8 seconds left in this third quarter of action. Alabama started strong. First quarter, Alabama with 201 yards of total offense. A Houston offensive attack, which is averaging 483 per game, held to just 4 total yards in the first half. Now they're up to 151 through the air, 236 overall. Alabama with 326 yards of total offense to this point.
After review, the ruling on the field is reversed. Video evidence confirms that the runner was down with the ball at the 34.5-yard line. It'll be third down and half a yard.
So they moved it back a foot and a half.
Foot and a half, but it wipes off the first down. So it'll be third down from there. And now the Bama defense with a chance to force the Cougars off the field if they can come up with a stop. 15 yards on that play instead of 16 as it was originally ruled. Quick count, lost the handle, but then got it back. That's about the third time they have dribbled the basketball very effectively for positive yardage.
Case Keenan, the ball carrier.
Tom Penders may want to put a couple of these guys in the backcourt for the Cougars. And now Art Briles is trying to figure out how his team's going to come from 20 points down to the second half. They trail 30-10 here on homecoming in Tuscaloosa. With Tyler Watts and Barry Krause, I'm Chris Stewart. So glad you're with us here on Crimson Tide pay-per-view. Alabama jumping out to a 23-0 lead at the end of one quarter. Weathered a storm at the end of the half as we begin the fourth quarter. Working on 1st and 10 of the Cougars. Pitch to Aldridge, trying to get to the corner, and he does. 5, 6, 7 yards before sailing out of bounds. And a flag comes in. I think you're going to get a late hit against the Tide.
And this might have been a cheap flag right here too. Almost looked like Carter was thrown into the Aldridge.
Maybe what they're discussing right now. Again, Aldridge coming in, averaging 110 yards per game on the ground, 181 all-purpose.
Personal foul, clipping, number 10, offense. 15-yard penalty, repeat first down.
So if there was late contact on the part of Carter, it was because he got clipped.
Aldridge does a good job of getting to the corner, but here's the play right there.
Yeah. You're exactly right. That's where it came from.
William Gary Mack of Alabama. Contact the University Police.
Let's look at the third quarter numbers.
Immediately.
As Alabama basically held things in check. Time of possession starting to even up a bit as the Cougars had it the majority of the third quarter. First down and 25. Dumping it off is Keenum. Catch is made by Derek Williams. A gain of 10, but it'll bring up 2nd and 15.
That's a nice open field tackle by Huston. He does a really good job in the field. of playing his position well and taking advantage of those angles that are afforded to him.
So 2-2 Houston Cougars and the 3-2 Alabama Crimson Tide with 14:49 left to play. Keenum dumping it off. Aldridge breaking one tackle, breaking another, now he's off to the races. And another late flag comes in as they'll whistle Alabama for a late hit. Rashad Johnson is the guy that pushed him out of bounds. And I think Aldridge may have injured himself at the end of this play. Not on the hit. It looked like he was already starting to pull up. I don't know if it was the hamstring, winded, or just didn't like the matchup with Rashad Johnson.
After the runner was out of bounds, personal foul, number 49, defense. Late hit, 15-yard penalty, first down.
26 yards that becomes 41 after the penalty.
And because you haven't seen him do this too often today once he gets into open field, and that's to pull up and run out of bounds. Yeah, you can see either he figured,
like the angle,
he figured he couldn't get any more, might as well step out of bounds. But even at that, when you're trying to slow up, that's when a lot of hamstrings are pulled. That's a bad penalty that time by Rashad Johnson, clearly going out of bounds. You can't afford to give up a cheap 15.
Terrence Ganaway does check into the backfield. As Aldridge is out for a moment anyway. Flags, whistles, but yet they play on. A scrum ensues.
Yeah, there's a lot of confusion, right? Because I keep thinking I hear whistles, but I don't see any flags or anything. And you have to, after the referees almost acted like they hadn't blown the whistle either.
I think they're trying to decide if somebody actually blew a whistle or if we just had party favors in the crowd or what.
There was a whistle blowing in the stands. We're going to replay first down. Please reset the game clock to 14:39.
You know, you don't think that's a big deal. I remember back in the 90s when Auburn was playing LSU.
Oh, yeah.
Cost them a safety.
And now we've got about 80,000 smart alecks that have jumped in all of a sudden. My kind of crowd. Pressure coming. And yet Keenum able to elude it, get out of bounds, and stop the clock after picking up the first. That's a great job by Case Keenum, the redshirt freshman out of Abilene, Texas. He's averaging about 3.5 yards per carry, and that's very good poise on his part.
Well, the secondary's still doing a good job, though. He has nowhere to throw. He's forced out of the pocket. One thing, though, that always will confuse you as a defensive back, he's always ready to throw the football, so you don't know if he is going to dump it off at the last minute. Forces the defensive guys to stay in coverage.
15 yards on the gain. And the Cougars back to the Bama red zone. Again, they've only gotten touchdowns 44% of the time when in the red zone this year. It's their first trip tonight. Little fade route. Pass is broken up. That's a nice job by Kareem Jackson. Art Briles is livid. He wants pass interference.
Well, there is a flag down, but it looked like it was mutual as far as the hands on both guys.
There's a flag on the play.
Did that come in late or did I just miss it?
He did not throw it until the ball hit the ground.
Pass interference, number 3, defense. Penalty is first down and spot on the foul.
Let's look at it again. Did he force him out of bounds? There was contact, and he ran out of real estate, he being Jerron Harvey. And so they'll set up 1st and goal at the 3. You do not have Aldridge on the field. So Kim will work from the gun. He'll roll the pocket. Pressure coming. Pass is caught, but it's a loss of a yard on the play. How did he unload that one? Wallace Gilberry makes the tackle on the reception by Wesley Scorton. But you had heavy pressure coming. Prince Hall's got him wrapped up, and yet he still unloads the football. Almost looked like his knee was down when he threw the ball. So a loss of 1, even with a pass completion. 2nd and goal. Inside handoff. No running room for Aldridge, who would check back in the game, and Gilberry records another tackle for loss. All the way back to the 10. 6-yard loss on that play.
Well, he is really teeing off right now, and he has found something that has enabled him to beat whoever's trying to block him. You don't know if it's a little twist or a stun inside. But Gilberry has been in the backfield all afternoon.
3rd and goal, but now back outside the 10. Aldridge in for the 2nd straight play. Blitz coming. Pass is caught at the 3, at the 2, and Alabama swarms in to make sure that Tarek Williams doesn't get to the end zone. Actually, it was Harvey, Jerron Harvey. Simeon Castile almost stripped it, but he just held on for dear life.
But it worked out just as well, because while he's trying to strip the football, Harvey's trying to fight as well, and it prevents him from fighting forward towards the goal line.
Houston 1 of 2 on 4th down attempts. They're going to go for it here. Down by 20 with 12:47 to go. They just about have to. Aldridge in the game with Keenum working from the shotgun. Now a work under center. Quarterback keep. He dives. Does he get in? Yes, he does. Touchdown. Tell you what, that's a nice call right there. You sneak him up to the line of scrimmage, and it looked like he's just trying to maybe change the play. Instead, they go quick count, and he sneaks it in for the touchdown.
Well, you got 2 wide angles also on your tackles right here, so there's a lot of space right there in the middle of the football field, and if the center is covered up at all, that play will not work.
So Keenum on the touchdown run of 3 yards. 11 plays, 2 yards officially, 11 plays, 75 yards, 3:44 off the clock. And we got a ball game again.
Dead ball foul. Illegal substitution. 12 players in the formation on the defense. The penalties decline. We're still playing a try.
Frustrated look on the face of Nick Saban as his Crimson Tide led this one 23-0. Dominated after 1 quarter. Gave up a score in the 2nd. Could have easily given up 2. Lawrence on to try the extra point. It's good. And the Cougars once again are within 13 points. Alabama still leads it by 2 scores, but the Cougars won't go away on homecoming. Let's get a Cook's Pest Control sideline report from Barry Krause.
One of the things Coach Saban was talking about all week long is how many missed tackles we had against FSU. All he's saying is just come up and make the tackle for a short loss. You see on that last series, Houston was able to dodge that first tackler, and all of a sudden it turns into a big play. So, Coach Saban is not pleased with the ability to come up and make those tackles immediately and not let them turn into big plays.
Thank you, Barry. 1st and 10 for the Cougars. Case Keenum looking, throwing, pass caught, and then leveled by Rashad Johnson. It was Donnie Avery who got clocked by the Bama free safety.
You got to like to see this right here. Rashad Johnson puts a lick on Avery. And that's a mismatch, Avery versus Prince Hall. You know Houston's trying to set those type of scenarios up.
Second and a foot, give Aldridge first down and more. He gets inside the 35, may have run out of his shoe as he picks up running room up to, the 48-yard line, a gain of 14 on the play.
Looks like Rashad Johnson lost his shoe on this. When we talked about the missed tackles here just a moment ago with Barry Krause, there you see there's 1, 2, 3. That's what enables Aldridge to get all the way up for big yardage.
Not a real big guy, but very strong and very fast. He's only 5'9", 175. They'll dump it off to Hafner, the tight end, and he is wrapped up. That's a great job by Prince Hall. We've called his name a lot today. I don't know how he'll grade out on the film, but we've seen him involved in a lot of big plays today for the Tide.
Yeah, he really floats around and plays the entire field really well. He might even be on coverage and then notice the play. Look at the recognition right there. He knows his responsibility is to go back to the tight end, and he does it very quickly in getting back there.
Under 9 minutes to go. Bama leading it, but by only 13. They led 23-0. And also 30-10. But Houston trying to cut into the Bama lead. Keenum dumping it across the middle. Pass caught by L.J. Castile. And he gets clocked by Kareem Jackson, but not until he picks up the first down. L.J. Castile with his third catch of the year. Redshirt freshman out of Lamarck, Texas.
Houston has loved going underneath, whether it be Harvey or Castile. You see him, he has to run all the way across the field to pick up the first down, but does indeed do it.
Boy, a penalty on the play.
Stance while number 10 was in motion.
Illegal
5-yard
shift.
penalty, repeat second down.
Called on Jeff Aykroyd. They said that he was not in his stance while Castile, that's L.J. Castile of Houston, was in motion. So a big penalty there. Instead of a first down, it backs it up to the 45 and sets up second and 14. They swing it out to Aldridge. He's got first down room and more. Tell you what, they do a nice job of finding ways to get the ball in his hands.
Well, and another thing they do is they bust the huddle and they get up there and they take the snap and they get it going. They don't allow the defense to set up and adjust and call out plays to one another to make those type of adjustments.
So first and 10 at the Bama 40. Keenum with all day to throw. Now pressure comes. He eludes it. He'll tuck it. He'll run it. And he will fall forward inside the 35 down to about the 33-yard line. Ezekiel Knight finally making the stop, but not before he picks up 9. And you're seeing the Bama defense look a little tired now.
And there's no explanation for this, but some quarterbacks and some running backs are just difficult to tackle. They just make a move right at the last minute when you're about to get a hand on them. Strong legs are able to bust it through there and pick up positive yards.
It's amazing how when things are going your way, you don't seem nearly as tired as the team that's wriggling a bit. That's the situation now as Houston has fought their way back into this game, and with plenty of time on the clock, they're within 2 scores. Play clock, though, ticking down to 2 seconds, and they've got to burn a timeout. That could be costly later. 1 timeout left. They'll break, and so will we. 7:35 to go. Nick Saban's Crimson Tide trying to hang on for win number 4. Victory number 4 on the year. Tyler Watson, Barry Krause, Chris Stewart with you here on Crimson Tide pay-per-view. 7 minutes, 35 seconds left to go. Alabama led this one 23-0 at the end of 1 quarter. They led it 30-10 just a few moments ago, but Houston with a touchdown drive of 75 yards. Took just 3 minutes and 45 seconds. Case Keenum's 2-yard touchdown run capped the 11-play drive to give them their second touchdown of the day. Pulled them within 13 points. And now the Cougars, after getting a stop of Alabama's offense, have marched it back down the field and are inside the Alabama 32-yard line. We'll see if they've got a first here. Art Briles' team in an unconventional offensive attack, but one that's extremely effective. 483.5 yards per game, their season average. That is another first down. That'll be their 19th. And again, Tyler, they had no first downs, they had no passing yards, and they had just 4 total yards at the end of one quarter.
But because of their big play capability, they're able to eat up big chunks of yardage at a time. And we saw the big play earlier right before halftime that really put them on the board. And since then, they have found their rhythm offensively.
First and 10, Keenum looking on play action, wheel route, guys wide open, pass is dropped. Oh, we heard footsteps from Rashad Johnson. You'd have thought Barry Krause was bearing down on him on that play. Let's check in with Barry.
Yeah, Tyler Watson's got to be very impressed with this young quarterback. Only a freshman. He's just doing a good job at looking off the free safety. And then when he's moving around in the pocket, he's looking downfield trying to make a play. But he's got a lot of poise and confidence for a freshman, not making any poor decisions so far. He's looking for the right opportunity to take advantage of this defense, and right now he's doing a good job at keeping this offense on the field.
Yeah, he has not forced the ball one time this afternoon, and hopefully that will change.
And again, Blake Joseph had been the starter, and it started to heat up a bit offensively, but now it's Keenum, it's Aldridge, he's in the end zone, and we've got a tight ball game with 7:06 to go. Another slant, 31 yards. Aldridge with another touchdown, and the Cougars are within 7.
Barry Krause talks about the poise here. Prince Hall comes on pressure. Keenum just turns very calmly and throws it right where that void was left.
That is the 4th receiving touchdown of the year for Aldridge. His 7th on the year. And now TJ Lawrence on to try the extra point that would make it a 6-point game. His kick is up. It's good. And we told you, this one smelled an awful lot like the Arkansas matchup 3 weeks ago. Hopefully, Bama's offense can play keep away. We'll find out when we come back to Tuscaloosa. They just can't make it easy, can they? Alabama, after winning its opener against Western Carolina 52-6 and beating Vanderbilt convincingly 24-10, wins by 3 in the last seconds against Arkansas. As you see the scoring drive from the Cougars. Bama loses in overtime to Georgia. Battled to the final minute, but lost in Jacksonville a week ago to Florida State, and now looks like they're going to go down to the wire against a Houston team that trailed 23-0 after one quarter. Again, as we reference the Arkansas game, Alabama led that one 21-0. At the end of the first quarter. And in that contest, Arkansas came all the way back to take the lead before Alabama marched down the field and scored the game winner with 8 seconds to go. What's going to happen in this one? Hopefully a good return. That's Jonathan Lowe at the 10, at the 15, at the 20, and rides a tackler all the way up to the 24-yard line. And it has been a game of 2 halves. Really, the first quarter, Alabama dominated, but since then, Houston has really done a nice job, as these numbers will indicate.
Well, the thing is, Chris, unlike what we thought it would be, it has not happened in big plays. It has happened just with drives of 7, 8, 9 plays, eating up 3, 4, 5 minutes of the clock, which is what we were hoping we would see out of Alabama.
So 1st and 10, play action. Pressure coming. Wilson has to hurdle a man, and he'll be brought down for a loss of 1. Shamari Williams, linebacker, making the stop as we look at it again.
Yeah, hoping to catch Houston here biting on the play action and have a chance to go up top. And then you see John Parker Wilson get up a little gimpy also. So he doesn't have that ability right now to move around in the pocket as efficiently as he was earlier in the game.
2nd and 11. Delay give, Coffee. Stretches forward for about 3. It'll be 3rd and long from there with 6:20 and ticking. Time left.
Oh, and the worst thing you want to do is have a 3 and out right here. Houston has the momentum, if there is such a thing. And with Alabama ineffective running the ball, puts them in a situation they do not want to be in.
Alabama may be trying to change the play. Nick Saban wants a timeout right here. There was some confusion again, and Alabama will burn a timeout to make sure they got the right play called. Such a dangerous situation here. 5:52 left, and while Houston has had some nice time-consuming drives, their big play capability is what scares you the most. 68 yards on their first touchdown, 34 yards on a field goal, 30 yards on their most recent touchdown. And Tyler, frankly, they missed their best opportunity in the second quarter on a deep ball that was simply dropped. That one would have gone for 65 plus if the catch had been made.
Yeah, right now, if you're that man right there, you're scratching your head, and I'm sure that all these players for Houston are. What if we had done something, anything in the first quarter? What would the score be right now?
So Alabama in the second half virtually silent offensively. They had 201 yards in the first quarter alone. Total offensive numbers now at 342 for the Tide, and another incomplete pass and another punt upcoming from P.J. Fitzgerald.
This is a mismatch right here for Lewick here coming off the corner. It's just too much speed. And I think you're also starting to see a little bit of that ankle come into play. He doesn't really trust it.
And the linebacker, Brendan Pahulu, putting pressure from the outside. And now Tarek Williams, who has dropped one punt that set up Bama's last touchdown, has to field this one. It's a fair catch called for and made at the 25. If he drops it, Rashad Johnson, or excuse me, Marquise Johnson would have been there to scoop it up as he was earlier.
What a huge punt, though.
It's a big punt of 47 yards, but now a flag comes in after the play. Mark Curls, our referee, has been busy today. 16th penalty upcoming between the two squads. Houston's been flagged 10 times. Is this the 11th?
After the play, personal foul, number 10, kicking team. 15-yard penalty, first down.
That's going to be on Jimmy Johns, and let's see. They're going to call the love tap that you saw just in the corner of your screen. Well, that's a mistake on the part of Johns, and a questionable call on top of it. So now a Houston offense that's been red hot in the second half has one timeout left. They have 5:39 on the clock, and they've got excellent field position at their own 42-yard line. We told you this one could be trouble. It took a while, but now it is. Keenum throws, pass, dropped. Oh, and he had all day to run if he makes the grab. L.J. Castile got turned around. Bama fortunate that he had the drop.
Yes, they were. Really the first poor pass that Keenum has thrown. A little bit, well, really not even that poor. That's one he should bring in, but fortunately for Alabama, he does not. We talked about it a minute ago, though. This Houston offense really has Alabama on their heels, not knowing what is coming.
Boy, they had Donnie Avery wide open down the sideline as well with nobody around him. 2nd and 10. Keenum stepping up, pressure coming. He eludes one man, but he will not elude Rashad Johnson and Zeke Knight. They bring him down after a gain of a couple. It'll be 3rd down and 8.
Houston got the mismatch that they wanted once again to the field here with Huston on a wide receiver, but Keenum was forced out of the pocket and couldn't look over. He took a hit.
2 points for the takedown there. 3rd and 8. Houston 4 of 13 on 3rd downs today. 4:53 on the clock. Bama needs a stop. They lead by 6. This lead has been as high as 23. It's also been at 20. Pressure coming. The throw downfield. It is picked off. Interception. Alabama Alabama's got it. Rashad Johnson with a lot of running room. Across midfield, into Houston territory, down to the 42-yard line as the Bama defense comes up with a huge play. The pressure by the Alabama defensive front forces him to hang it up, and Johnson takes care of the rest.
Well, it's a delayed blitz by Alabama. You see Prince Hall come in and deliver the lick right as Keenum is throwing it. Johnson just on excellent coverage, though. Forces Avery out of bounds. He has the position, comes down with a pick.
24 yards, actually 28 yards on the return for Rashad Johnson. Some big hits and a big interception there. That's his third of the season to lead the Crimson Tide. Eye set behind Wilson to give. Coffee right side, not much room. He got to the 41, and a gain of 2 as Tate Stewart, the nose tackle, makes the stop. Boy, they've had some chances after a disastrous first quarter where Alabama came out red hot and dominated. Since then, though, Houston, a gutty effort to fight back in it, still in the ball game, down by just 6 with under 4 minutes to go. 2nd and 8, Alabama. McCall, the tight end, shifting over. Wilson to give to Coffee. Drags tacklers inside the 40 to the 37-yard line, and he continues to pile up a career day. 30th carry right there for Glenn Coffee for over 120 yards.
You see McCall there leading the hole, doing a great job isolating that linebacker and taking him on. And Coffee, as you said, he's tough between the tackles, probably the biggest of the 3 backs, and really fits this type of situation well.
Alabama 6 of 14 on 3rd down conversions today, but only 2 of 6 here in the second half. 3rd and 5, a chance to help ice things if you can pick up a first down. Wilson looking, shuffle pass, picked off on the deflection, and the Cougars have it at their own 37-yard line. Brandon Brinkley caught the deflection on the improv, and let's see if the Bama defense can come up with another stop.
It's just a situation of somebody trying to make a play. Probably hindsight would have been better off just taking the sack and punting the football.
No question.
That is not what you want to do, though, is turn the football over.
Coffee running at him as the football came towards him, and that's a tough interception there and a tough turnover by the Crimson Tide. That pick thrown by Wilson, his 4th of the season. Keenum, pressure coming, looking for it all. He's got a man there, and it is incomplete. And a late flag comes in.
There's a flag on the play.
That one came very late from the back judge.
Pass interference, number 16, defense. 15-yard penalty, first down.
They'll call Lionel Mitchell for this one.
Well, everybody in the stadium thinks that it's going to be a screen pass, and you see him. It's probably a good thing that he did pass interfere, because if that ball is thrown on time and thrown out there, then it would have been 6.
Lionel Mitchell's not even on the same side of the field on that play, I don't believe. It was Simeon Castile who was in coverage. So they misidentify the Alabama player, and I'm not sure they got the call right to begin with. Nonetheless, the Cougars have it 1st and 10.
Alabama 46.
And this crew, which I believe is a Conference USA set of officials, we know it's not an SEC crew, having some problems getting on the same page. And I don't think this is a called timeout. There's been no official word that it is.
Yeah, they're trying to get the change right on the far sideline.
But a smart decision by Art Briles to bring his team over. and basically use it as a timeout. They'll hurry to the line of scrimmage, or to the huddle anyway. They've only got 15 seconds left on the play clock. Handoff, Aldridge to the corner. And what a play by Prince Hall. You've seen one-handed grabs from the offense. There's one defensively.
And here's Prince Hall using that speed, coming from the middle of the field. Aldridge has the corner, but look at him run him down, and that is strength in the arms.
Good night. 4 yards on the carry. Looked like he was going to get a lot more. Under 2:20 to go. Second down and 6. Keenan tucking it, running it, playing it at the 40-yard line. Prince Hall again. What a game from the sophomore out of Moreno Valley, California.
Having an outstanding game, as you said. Good pressure this time by the Alabama front four. Alabama secondary doing an awesome job, coverage downfield, and as you said, he just comes up and delivers a lick on Keenan.
And a tough break for Alabama. There's another guy who's had a sensational game. Wallace Gilberry has to leave the field, and that will bring Milton Talbert in. A 6'3" freshman out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
Please reset the game clock to 1:35.
So Talbert checking in for Alabama, and Gilberry being attended to down on the sidelines. You see there. Talbert has does not have a tackle on the year. This is only the 4th game in which he's appeared, and you see Gilberry already 11 stops on the day. Huge third down play, and Talbot almost jumped off sides. Thankfully, he got back. Direct snap to Aldridge. First down. Gets out of bounds with a 1:17 to go. Ali Sharif making the hit.
Tackle by Ali Sharif.
Well, here all Houston wants to do is try to pick up the first down, and there you'll see put Aldridge with a direct snap. Go ahead and try to take all the blockers out.
Boy, Aldridge a little worse for wear as he got drilled. You see him having to stay on the sidelines. Some big hits delivered from both sides. 4-yard gain, first down pickup. 1st and 10 at the Bama 35. Tide leads it by just 6 with 1:17 to go. Keenum unloading it wide open is Harvey on this side. He's got a first down. Castile brings him down at the 23-yard line.
Well, it looked like they were trying to set up that same play, that little fake screen, and they just slide somebody down the sideline. But this time Alabama is wary of it and sends someone in coverage. But Keenan does a good job. He's always looking downfield, even when he's scrambling, trying to find an open receiver.
13 yards on the gain. Gilberry back in for Alabama defensively, number 92. 1st and 10 at the 22-yard line. Houston down 23-0 at the end of 1 quarter. Now knocking on the door of an upset. Blitz coming, pass thrown, flags will come flying in, pass interference on Alabama. Rashad Johnson ran into the receiver, and slow to get up is Ali Sharif for Alabama, and they're going to call it an uncatchable pass.
There's no foul for defensive pass interference. The pass was uncatchable. It's 2nd down.
And that could be a big loss for Alabama. Ali Sharif he came in on the blitz and delivered a good lick. But you see him holding his wrist there, and you hope it's not anything serious.
Well, that's a big hit. And again, there was contact, but the ball was well overthrown. 2nd and 10 from the Bama 22. Keenum working from the gun. We'll see if they're going the direct snap to Aldridge. They will. Reverse coming. Is anybody there? Rashad Johnson able to rack it up. Big play there by Johnson. A great job of staying home. He and Castile reading that one extremely well as the clock ticks with 33 seconds to go.
Yeah, they have this play set up really well. A little underneath pitch right here. If Johnson does not stay at home and play his assignment football, this could have been a touchdown.
3rd down and 6. 1 timeout left. 17 seconds on the clock. Cougars looking, blitz coming, pressure, eluding a man. Now he's going to be knocked down at the 15-yard line. 6 seconds, 5, stopped with a timeout. And 4th down and 1 play in the game left.
How was he able to get up from that lick?
Absolutely drilled.
We had about 2 or 3 chances to get him there in the backfield.
Tyrone King, the guy that came blitzing through, and then a big hit, as you said. I think it was Prince Hall again. Yeah, it was. So here's your ball game. 4th down, but what matters most, just 5 seconds.
Yeah, they have to go for the end zone right here. They only have time for 1 play.
A lot of people left early thinking this one was in the bag. Those that are left being treated, if you want to call it that, to another dramatic finish. And they're trying to help the Bama defense out here. That's a tired, weary Alabama defense that makes its way back onto the field. Here's your ball game. 4th down. 3 yards for the first, but that's really inconsequential here. They've got 4 wideouts to the top of your picture, 1 to the near side.
You got to think it's some sort of trick play right here.
There's the fade, the jump ball. Ball is intercepted. Alabama picked off by Simeon Castile, and Alabama hangs on for the win. It was a jump ball. And the all-conference corner, Simeon Castile, went up and saved homecoming for Alabama.
We got Harvey at 6'5" and Castile at 6'3". 2 tall wide receivers for Houston, and they just throw a Hail Mary pass to them. But Simeon Castile does a great job.
Down to Barry Krause with Nick Saban.
Yeah, Coach, looked like a tale of 2 stories as far as the first half and then the second half.
Well, you know, we know that's the kind of team they are. They've been able to come back on other people. The thing you got to do is you got to play well on offense and take the air out of the ball so they don't have the ball so much. You know, we got tired on defense, and that was the biggest problem. We started missing tackles, losing leverage, couldn't run with 22 because he's a great player and he's a fast guy. So it's a great win for us. We won the game, you know, but, you know, we got to play better offense in the second half.
All right, Coach, thank you.
Thank you.
Another photo finish in Tuscaloosa, but the Tide hangs on 30-24 as Alabama improves to 4-2 on the year. Final comments when we come back to Tuscaloosa. 30-24, Alabama hangs on, never boring at Bryant-Denny Stadium as the Tide sees a 23-0 first quarter lead dissipate, but hangs on to win it on the last play of the game. Tyler.
Whew, what a game right there. We knew Houston had the capability of coming back in that football game, and they did exactly that. But tip your hat there to the Alabama defense for sticking in there. 2 big interceptions there at the end of the game.
Offense struggled in the second half today, but the defense comes up with a stop on the final play of the contest. 30-24, again your final as the Crimson Tide hangs on after dominating early. They finish strong. An interception in the end zone by Simeon Castile on the game's final play preserves the victory as the Tide improves to 4-2 on the year. The Cougars drop to 2-3. For Tyler Watts, Barry Krause, and our entire Crimson Tide Sports Network crew, I'm Chris Stewart. Thanks for joining us. Roll Tide, and good night from Tuscaloosa.